Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and the entirety of the esports world. Here we are in for some more Apex action, brought to you by EGL Apex, powered by Evesports, and of course in the background, HP and HP Omen making this all possible. We are going to be in day 2 of the main event. You've all seen the qualifiers, you've all seen the run-up, but now it starts to get really real. And to make sure you know how real it is, how else can you start a tournament, right? Yesterday, of course, we weren't around here, but today, we've got the man in the red jacket. ThendoPlays is out here, the voice of South African Apex. And we just got this random guy called Snare. But welcome, everybody. Thendo, how you feeling, my G? And bro, I'm actually really excited about this. And tell me, just hype this up. I don't think I can do enough justice for this, right? Apex is your arena, my friend. So please, tell the people what's on offer for today.
Yeah, I mean, if you weren't tuned in yesterday, I was definitely tuning in, watching Ez and Cam do their thing. And I mean, it was a DNMK show in the first series, right? DNMK just ran through everybody. Well, not really ran through, right? First game, they were down to 2 people, and then, you know, Vias got out, and it was Tyler and Cheetah Boy that had to work things out to try clutch them up a few points. The second game wasn't too good, and then the third game, wow, I mean, that man Tyler, Cheetah Boy, did a madness, dropping 13 kills, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in that one. And then we transitioned over to the second series. We saw Nibble Esports absolutely dominate. I don't know, Snare, if you caught that final game, right? They were also down to 2 people, right? They were up against Project Rise. And they had to come through and do something, you know. We were checking Chambi out. He was contemplating whether or not to use his Ash, you know, abilities in that moment. But they just decided to stick it out and fight it. And I think today we're going to see just the same amount of action, right? Because the lobby is stacked up, yes. I mean, ATK is here, DNMK is here, right? We're going to see She Unit as well, which is a team that I'm interested to check out, an all-female team. I mean, I saw the likes of Ascent yesterday as well. They were looking quite interesting. And I mean, yeah, Snare, first time with the Apex swinging it around. How are you feeling?
I'm hyped for 2 reasons, right? Firstly, like you said, we don't just have amazing teams coming to the table today, and teams that we've already seen not just do great things in the last 2 days, in the qualifiers in the last 2 weeks, but just overall in Apex. But I'm also hyped because this is sort of, you know, every single year you get that one tournament, right, that feels like it kicks things off. And for quite a while now, it has really felt like whenever we've done EGL before, EGL, of course, with the power of Evesports and with HP Omen and HP in the background, we've done CSGO, we've done Dota, and each time that has happened, it sort of kicks off a new wave of tournaments for the rest of the year. So I'm kind of hoping the same thing ends up happening here today with Apex as well. And of course, the actual Apex, the talent being involved, you know, it's really nice to see. Like this morning I was on Twitter, and it's nice to see people who I don't normally associate with Apex still tweeting about it, retweeting things and being like, yo, we saw some amazing things yesterday. So I'm hoping to see more of that going forward. And, you know, you might have referenced it a little bit. Hashtag no bias, but there's a certain blue team I'm hoping to see do kind of well. But no bias, none at all. We don't have no bias about this. But something I did want to... One thing I also want to ask you as well. I'm a bit sad, if I'm honest, that you're not playing. It is what it is. But one thing that's been cool is that it's not just all the squads that you expect to be here, right? Or rather, the squads that you expect to be here are here and they're doing well. But the actual overall level of Apex that we saw yesterday, Thendo, was surprisingly quite high, even for the teams that aren't like well-regarded names in the scene, right?
Yeah, you know, I think we're reaching that point in the life cycle of Apex Legends, right? You can come into my stream and watch me raging all the time because for some reason, everybody feels like they've gone through an LGS circuit at least once now. And I mean, the skill level is really up there these days with Apex Legends, right? So yeah, definitely we're going to see, even in gold tier right now, right? There's still a stage after this and then another one for these players to go through. And I think once we get to the finals, we're going to get the tippy top of the best in, you know, this region that we have right here. And I mean, looking at some of the teams, Snare, I don't know, right? We obviously have the DNMK love coming through. I'm looking at ATK tonight to really pull through. They didn't have a good show in last night, unfortunate. Only walking away with, I believe, 15 points. It was a little bit rough, but what can you do when you're going up against Nibble, right? I mean, Tenchi was just, you know, doing what Tenchi does here and there, accompanied by Gutbuster, and of course now Chambi. I'm looking at Vinco Gaming, which is going to be quite interesting, right? Snare, Kano, I don't know if you know who Kano is. Resident Liquipedia Apex editor.
Yep.
Plays competitively, always playing with, like, you know, the SA boys out here in the region. And I mean, like, it's cool to see that coming through. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to be quite exciting to see, especially drop spots in this lobby.
Drop spots in particular. One thing that we actually saw yesterday that was quite impactful was that initial drop made all the difference in the world, right? The positioning on the map. I think it was, I forget if it was game 2 or 3 or the World's Edge one, where it's the squad that got to the mid drop first, and they stayed there until like the final squad showdown. Was pretty incredible, honestly. So hoping to see a little bit more of that placement, and you know, just seeing people get more of this idea that being good at a game like this is not just about how quickly you can aim down the sights, how quickly you can peek around the corner to get your shots off. Has a lot more to do with your understanding of the game, tactical positioning, where to go and when really can have a large influence in this. And of course, it's that kind of thinking, right? It's not just the skill that's gonna get you to the top. Because like you've mentioned, it's not just a one and done situation. You play over 2 days and it's over. It takes a while. You sort of have to maintain that consistency week in, week out. And we've seen oftentimes that the teams who drop off from that level, even if they start strong, don't end up in the podium finishes. And those podium finishes mean a lot in this tournament, Thendo. 50,000. Damn. It's a lot of money to be giving away from some Apex. And the top squad, of course, getting 25K on top of that. You know, you need that inspiration, you need that quality to keep pushing you forward week in, week out. But right now, as we are about to kick things off, we've spoken about a lot of these good squads. We've spoken about some of the favorites, things we've seen happen in the last day or so. But Thendo, before we even get into the map, give me a prediction. Give me a top 3. Which squads are we seeing? 1, 2, and 3, and in order, OG. That's what I want to hear.
In order, it's a little bit tough.
Order.
To predict. Again, no bias, obviously, but I think DNMK, you know, if they're synergized tonight, I think they can really pop off. Yeah, I think the lobby is looking, I wouldn't say easy for them, but it's looking quite doable to walk away with quite a number of points, I'd say. ATK as well, right? If ATK is able to turn on, I'd definitely put them in the top 3 coming into tonight. And then I'm looking at Vinco. I'm like interested in what they can put up in these lobbies, right? You know, they played in terms of just like you said, right, with like Kickstarter tournaments, right? If you're looking at this tournament right now is probably the greatest test that most of these players are going to go through, right? Because besides ALGS, ZA tournaments, right, we haven't really had something like this, right? This league where it's just like you have to come in and out, and it's not you playing against one dedicated group for the entirety of the tournament and then progressing to the finals. You go in and out of these groups and you play group A, B, C, D, and it just goes all over the show, right? And then you get to see the whole talent, you know, of what is inside these lobbies. And we might see some people that we don't know about, right, coming in and popping off and just, you know, making a name for themselves, right? And this is where it starts off, right?
Yeah, starts off right here at the beginning, and you mentioned it just now. We've got these 4 groups that are going to be going up against each other day in, day out. One intriguing thing about this is because your matchup is always going to be highly mixed up, you never really gain that familiarity with the exact squads you're going up against. You know, sometimes you see somebody often enough in a lobby, you sort of get a feel or a handle of what their habits are in game. That's not going to be happening here. Obviously, you're going to have to just be as cracked as possible, as consistent as possible, despite not knowing what exactly your opponents are going to bring to the table. But I also want to speak about something that you were talking about earlier, and what I love about having, well, the Apex scene in general, relative to a lot of the different scenes in SA Esports. you mentioned Kano, right? The resident Liquipedia person. One thing we've seen a lot in Apex that we don't see in other games, Thendo, is people from the more northern part of the continent and, frankly speaking, the planet, still finding their way into joining SA squads, specifically to play on our shores, on our borders. In a lot of other scenes, people are just like, whatever, why would I go? Usually the direction is the opposite way, right? The SA players are migrating overseas. But for some reason, how is it that we keep attracting all this international talent to play with us?
Yeah, I think a number of reasons is attracting people to, these tournaments. I think it's just the opportunity to play, get the experience in it. I think there's a lot of people in the community that just love Apex in general, right? So when they get the opportunity to play against, these players that some of us would view as like the top in the country, right? They think they can take them out. And I've seen it happen. People can take them out, definitely. They're not invincible. And it's just a good opportunity to improve your skill, and it's always so open. And I feel like a lot of admins, at least when they've been hosting these tournaments, they've been really considerate and just like the full spectrum of it. And in general, the Apex community is quite awesome. So very inclusive, and I think the inclusivity is what attracts people pulling into this game. Looking at Ascent Esports, actually, Snare could be a dangerous squad to look out for. The Colder, Snare, and Clutch. Yesterday, they went up against DNMK in a really tough spot outside of Trials. I wonder if they'll run into them again in similar spots. But thinking of drop spots right now, you got to be looking at the fragments, the really highly contested spots. And yesterday, there was a lot of teams that were actually landing in fragment and taking these early fights. I don't know what your idea around taking early fights is, right? I'm always like, all right, cool. If you're going to take an early fight, hopefully you're just getting contested by one team. And then you guys can just work off that one squad. But if it's way more than that, then sometimes you just need to pull out of that.
I think it largely depends on, it's pretty much a confidence game, right? It depends who is around you, which other squad has landed in the vicinity. If you know that it's a squad that you have confidence you can actually take them out, then it does work out. Or if there was one LGS game that I watched where there was a drop early on. Where did they drop? I think it was on Skyhook or something. And it was one of these situations where two highly contested squads, but somebody got there slightly sooner, right? Gets a little bit of loot, and they decided, you know what, YOLO, let's just take this fight. Let's hope for the best. If we do manage to take this fight, then we probably can win the rest of the lobby anyway. So it's really one of those difficult situations. I do largely agree with you that 7 to 8 times out of 10, you should probably let it go. Back yourself later on down the line, but I don't know, if there's 2-3 squads around you and you're not confident in being able to make that escape anyway, then you're just like, YOLO. Let's start the action, make something happen now. At the very least, if you go out, you go out on your own terms, right? I'm sure you've been in that situation where you think to yourself, nah, this drop seems a bit iffy. Let me try and retreat. And then as the squad gets taken down, you're like, well, that sucks. This is just going to be a waste of the next 30 minutes. I'm just going to be waiting, doing nothing. So depends on the team, on the confidence, and it depends on the character matchup, right, at the time, because that's one thing that I think Apex is quite interesting about. Because of how often it is that loot plays a large portion of what your early game looks like in this game, people don't often pay that much attention to what individual character matchups can look like without weapons, right? And it can make a huge difference in those early drop fights.
Yeah, it really can make a big difference, right? Legend composition is, a very big pillar in competitive Apex, right? And compositions really shape how the meta goes. And I mean, we're seeing a lot of Valkyrie redeploys coming in these lobbies. Valkyrie has been on the rise for a really long time since she was dropped in season 9, coming all the way now into, I believe, we're in the 11th season of Apex Legends, and she's still, making some noise out there. Always got to have your Gibby on the side, right? Because crossing and traversing these open lands can be really difficult when you can't, deploy some cover up, and when you're getting pinned down by a whole bunch of squads. And sometimes that third pick is really loose, right? It's either people are looking for information, maybe they pick the Bloodhound play, maybe they're playing more aggro, they might just play with Wraith as well, because the Wraith portal is always good for repositioning and getting into spots that would be ultimately difficult for the team to traverse through out in the open, for example, when the portal can actually just be a really good option for that, right? So a lot of legend compositions up and down. Saw a lot of caustic. Well, maybe not a lot. There was one person
more than usual
yesterday.
Yeah.
More than usual, understandable. I believe Nibble also, swapped onto caustic. They had the crypto as well, which was interesting for me. But it worked clearly, man. And when I was speaking to the coach in the chat, they were like, "Yeah, just play crypto. Maybe crypto is the meta right now on World's Edge with the current, legends."
Actually, I want to ask you about this, about legend composition, right? Because you were talking about this Valkyrie and how we've seen a lot of these reposition plays happening more often of late. Seems to have sort of corresponded with less and less lifelines that I've been seeing as people prioritize the reposition rather than the revival. But as I'm talking about this, Thendo, we're finally getting into it. The lobby is now getting underway. We're launching, the players are getting ready, and we're about to start this here lobby. Obviously, we are on the world's edge. Obviously, we have a lot of points on the line. You know, these early days, it's important to get a feel for your opponent, a feel for the map, but crucially, get as high up on the table as possible because you don't know what the rest of the weeks will look like. Maybe weird things happen. Somebody catches COVID, somebody's PC dies, you know, somebody has a fight with their dog or whatever, I don't know. But while things are good now, get as many points on the board as possible. But before we get into it, Thendo, you know, yesterday it sort of started, I wouldn't say slowly, but you could sort of sense people had a bit of caution at the beginning, right? What are you expecting here? Guns blazing type of action, or is people going to be a bit more measured, thinking very carefully about how many points to get up as easily as possible?
Yeah, I think, you know, the interesting thing tonight is that the lobby is pretty empty, right? So with an empty-ish lobby, there's going to be a lot more drop spots. And obviously that means that, you know, if you're a smart team, you'll understand that it's not really our place to be contesting any teams at this moment, right? Rather just prioritize, you know, getting that loot and just making sure that your rotation is good. Looking at a couple of picks that are coming through here, again, Gibbies are coming through. We see a couple of Bloodhounds. Ash is a pickup that's been coming in and out as well, mainly because of the portal. The portal is really good, right? It's an instant TP compared to Wraith's one, which will obviously, you know, you'll have to traverse as Wraith to place that one down for the squad. And I mean, yeah, right? We got the peep slot loading in right now over World's Edge. So it'll be interesting to see a lot of these drop spots, like we said, and if anyone will be contesting on top of each other.
Here we go. The drops are going to be going out right now. We just see the entire map. Not that much action towards Harvester just yet, you know. I like the fact that, honestly, I like seeing early drops as well. Get it out of the way. We see, you're already speaking about trials, some squads heading in that direction. Countdown seems to be a spot where we're going to have some action as well. But the early days, you mentioned that empty lobby means that there's plenty of loot for everybody, enough to share, you know? This is not a zero-sum game as of yet. So for now, we are not yet playing by capitalist rules. You know, people still have an opportunity to share some loot.
Jumping on with ATK as a land fragment. I always say that the team that lands fragment is, you know, always a dominant force in the lobby. You know, they have the confidence that, you know, even if someone lands on top of us, we can assert our dominance and just take them out, move on, get those early points in. And they'll just be chilling out, getting some good loot. Nice little wingman over here on Volcano.
That's always fun to get early on. You're always like, yay, thank you. Talk to me about this on this Venco Gaming, right? Because we see quite a lot of, I wouldn't say copying, but everybody has like the sort of in meta for at least especially this tournament kind of squads, right? We're seeing the Bloodhounds, we're seeing the Gibbies, we're seeing some Valks, but there's some peculiarities here. I see a Bango there for the donuts, but for Venco, I haven't seen this particular composition before in this tournament. You were already mentioning that you get the advantage, of course, with some of the TPing out, but talk to me about why exactly they decided to go in this route here for Venco.
Yeah, a bit of a defensive composition, isn't it, right? Because obviously they got the Watson on there. And I mean, yeah, you know, I can see why, right? Like I said, the lobby's pretty empty. So judging off that, there'll be a lot more room to rotate, right? Which means that if you can get that beacon scan with the Valkyrie, you'll be able to just, you know, either use your redeploys or just, you know, traverse the land and get to the points that you need to. Looking at DNMK, look at them, look at that. They, like I said, they know exactly what's going down, right? There's not that much room, and speaking of room, seems like someone is getting pushed out of this room here by Ascend Esports.
Yeah, very nicely done to be able to try and get the repositioning in that area. It is a bit dicey what ended up happening in the situation, but you know, ultimately they hold firm, hold strong, managed to control the entirety of the area, and that's a pretty good way to start things off, not just for being able to get a full squad kill. Unfortunately, the Thomas Small squad completely out of the contest right now, but it's really good for your confidence, right? Being able to win some of these early duels, I think for especially the teams that, you know, aren't maybe as confident going into the lobby, it really helps a lot being able to warm up like this, right? So you don't feel necessarily the pressure of playing in such a high skill lobby. You're like, oh wait, it's end of the day, just Apex, guys. Let's just play Apex and we'll be okay.
Just play Apex sometimes is definitely the right call. Team's making the rotation towards tree now, coming from the countdown. And I mean, you know, we're looking at just everybody trying to get some loot right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, prioritizing the rotations. Zone's going to be pulling towards that staging side, so that will really heavily favor DNMK, you know?
They're practically right in the middle of the zone at the moment, so we should see some teams starting to move towards that area. Well, it's still going to be a little bit of time. Some loot is still to be picked up. I'm a bit worried about some of the squads further out. Vinco Gaming especially will need to start getting a move on, but they have so much repositioning that for them, they're like, whatever, dude. This will be the easiest thing in the world to get there quickly. Does seem like everyone is far enough away right now that until possibly the second zone reduction, we're not going to see as much more action. Everybody has sort of established their own control. People just doing their own thing, man. Looks like we're going to have a bit of a slow burn today, but this is good. This is good. It means that desperation will come in game 3, which is what we want.
Desperation will come in game 3. It's a tough one as well, right? When you only have 3 games to work with because of RNG. Right? that first game, most of the time I always say it's a jabbing match, right? You're really trying to poke out the lobby and see exactly how everybody plays before you really dive into, you know, maybe your full strategy. Second game, usually you try your strategy out, and if it doesn't work, by that third game is when people usually try to shift things up. But now it's first game or not, and there's a bit of a fight happening over here between ATK. I think that's a send. Shots are being popped through here. The beams are looking good from Dust as he tries to swoop in over here. On 301 takes down Coda. What can he even do with the Mastiff now? He's swapping and hitting all these shots. The Bloodhound is really weak. The team is just not next to him right now. It's gonna be only up to Rexy. Rexy at least gets to knock onto the one. He's gonna try and work at this angle with the rock. Takes a little bit of his time over here. Just try and hold this angle, waiting for this push. I mean, this is the unfortunate situation. I mean, it's a 1v1, right? Between Clutch down to low HP, playing the Valkyrie, trying to get that high ground and just get out of dodge just a little bit. It's a bit of an odd play. He was trying to get out, but you can't stand on that, I believe.
No.
This is gonna prove a bet.
Gonna have to back off a little bit there, get the shield up. There is gonna be a lot of action still to come here. This is a very important battle. You cannot really afford to lose out on this, but looks like that's gonna be the case. ATK did find the one rare, so it's a 2v1 situation. Clutch, understanding that there's no way to stick around here, going to have to flee the area, but this, if you're trying to think about ways to come back in a 1v2 situation, Valkyrie normally not the legend to do it, especially now that you've been scouted out by this Bloodhound, getting covered on both angles, will be able to get the crack off at the very least, takes down some shield, gets a lot of damage out. That's gonna be the pop right there, but is it gonna be enough to be a kill? Unfortunately not. Rechu, the last hope right now for Ascent Esports, and hope is taken away. ATK, not only do they get the double res back, the whole squad is up, and they'll be able to easily start making their way back into the zone.
Yeah, good game awareness from Rexy, knowing that he can just pop that res rather, considering the positioning of the Ascent teammates. Clutch really didn't have an option besides to heal up and wait for the fight. And at that point in time, it becomes a 1v3. All right, 2 squads down so far. We've got a couple of teams already holding things down, and we're tuning into some beaming action over here from none other than Dynamic Esports with Cheetah Boy. On that R301 with that 3 times, doing a lot of damage. Bradley gets hit by a stun there. We'll slow him down for a little bit. Sends out a scan. No hostiles, which is kind of weird because they're out there though. Made it thrown as well. There's a knock onto the one teammate over here. And the shots with the wingman from Vias is just going to close that one up. And DNMK getting their first points on the board there.
That was very nicely done by DNMK, and some of the correct characteristic things we've seen from the squad so far, right? Vias being the one to sort of scare everybody off, whilst Cheetah Boy and Bradley get recover on the angles. Beautifully done in that regard. So that's another squad taken out, and while this was happening, another squad also ended up being removed from play on the other side of the map. So we are starting to see things thin out quite a little bit. 10 squads remaining on the map at the moment. It is not going to get any easier, as now all the squads that are left are kind of cracked in their shooting potential, right? And ATK, they're the ones right now that are in a little bit of action as we see a young Gibby off landing out. But it shouldn't threaten them too much. We do see though action happening on the other side, Thendo. More and more shooting as DNMK also getting involved in some fights here. At the same time, there's going to be so much fight. Look how many heroes are scanned out here with the Bloodhound, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough to get clean angles for the kill. I think they have to back off a little bit here, but they're keeping the fight going. Not sure about this one. Standing within the shield, they're hoping this will protect them, but unfortunately that puts them right outside of the ring here, Thendo.
They're just outside of the ring. ATK needs to make their way inside. They're taking a little bit of damage. The shots are coming through from Rexy. That's the one knock onto NJ as he tried to swoop through here. They're anchoring the team from the front. Rexy swoops in with a massive, misses the first shot, hits the second, and that one's gonna confirm it. As he gets that kill on, we'll get that armor swap, and they're holding steady over here at the edge of the zone, ATK. And yeah, there've been a couple of fights that have been breaking loose throughout, you know, these rotations. As DNMK took up a fight, and managed to clean up a fight on their side as well. And, you know, I think everybody's just getting into the swing of the night over here as we tune in to some crazy wingman shots with a 2x bruiser. My goodness, why are you using a bruiser and why are you that cracked with him?
And man, use the bruiser because they're good at it, and now we see them going in. The first squad, they've already gotten one down. Will they be able to get more out of this? In this situation, they have a slight numerical advantage. Great shot coming in right there. And that's going to be for the She unit. One hero left, one legend left inside, trying to hold position. But this is a difficult place to be, Thendo. You are surrounded. You know for a fact they know where you are. They have the positioning on you. So what is going to be the play to try and get out of them? Attempting to run, attempting to hide, but it's not going to be good enough. You see Sam Q from the She unit taken out. Only one legend remaining. How do you come back from this position, from the full 3v1? You're just inside and waiting and hoping for the best, but unfortunately the best will not come, and that's a full squad elimination.
7 squads already. Bit of an explosive first game here. Everyone just seems to be hungry for kills and traversing around the map. Zone is again pulling towards the staging area. And, you know, I just want to highlight, you know, a team out here, Vinco, is playing so passively, right?
Quiet, dog.
They're quiet, they're just waiting in the zone, right? And if, you know, you've watched them in previous tournaments, you'll know that this is their playstyle, right? They really just wait for third parties when they can find them. They rather prioritize their rotations and getting loot and just getting themselves into good positions besides taking these fights, like, you know, a lot of these other teams. And most often, they find themselves in an endgame position, and from those endgame positions, usually they'll just be able to clean them up just by third partying. They're just wrapping close to the edge of the zone.
Honestly, I sometimes feel like Vinco Gaming should rename to Turtle Gaming, man. They just play that shell style so well, and just wait for the opportunity to get themselves ahead. Now, though, we see them traversing towards mid here as we now take a little bit of a peek back towards the ATK squad. They've fully maxed out, even have a golden armor there for Volcano. That's pretty nice. What are they going to be able to get out of this, though? The question that I have for you as well, Thendo, because we're now going to be seeing everything start moving towards the staging area, the team that's already occupied that position is MTG Apex, but unfortunately, they're only playing with 2 players. It's so much more difficult, right, to keep full zonal control, even if you have the central staging, even when you have this few people on the board, right? It's just that much more difficult to ensure that you're covering every single possible angle.
Yeah, right, because, you know, when you've got the hotspot in the zone, everyone's going to be looking to that position to try and get it and get themselves in a comfortable spot. That's taking a little bit of damage here from a distance, and it's DNMK. I was about to mention this, that DNMK and ATK are on the same rotation path, and we might see a fight break loose unless DNMK decides to just rotate, yeah? Doesn't seem like it. Look at Bradley and Cheetah. They're trying to move up closer. Shots are flying through from Cheetah. Nice little armor crack there. Gonna push back the players. And they're just gonna try to hold them out for as long as they can, right, from the spot. They're still in zone. They don't really need to worry too much on getting to the center of the zone, right? Because like we said, when you got that hotspot, you can get really highly contested, right? And Swat will be looking to get onto them. Shots are flying through, and the devotion from Dust has dealt so much damage onto Cheetah that he's gonna have to get out of there as quickly as he can. Still 7 squads up. DNMK does not want to go down.
Absolutely not. Not the type to end up losing out. And we saw in the qualifiers that DNMK often will rely on that long range ability from Cheetah Boy. He's so cracked at that down lane, down the ADS sites shooting. And unfortunately though, in this particular situation, the Devotion was able to outpace the R3. So of course away, but this gives a great opportunity towards some other squads. As we see a quick elimination on the other side of things. Very nicely done. The Donut Legends though might also be losing out themselves, getting completely surrounded here. Great takeout. The Donut Legends are down 10. We are down to 5 squads left out of the total 14. Really is down to the wire. The podium finishes at this point are starting to back in. And things get really crazy from here on out, especially with how small the zone is going. Completely going to be centered around that staging area. People need to get there ASAP.
That's a big scan, and it's actually a bit redeploy coming through from Vinco Gaming as they take off away. DNMK is also trying to pop some shots towards them. They've decided to rotate away from that ATK fight. Prezzy's now assuming the spot and taking the lead that it was a previous lead. Oh, okay, some shots. Yeah, that scan gives a lot of information over there, and they know exactly what's in front of them. They get counter scanned, and now I believe that might be maybe DNMK on this rotation. Or it just could be Vinko coming back for more. Shots are being thrown through. And is DNMK. Swap onto the vault now. Cheetah Boy as he's swooping in for this fight. And he's gonna spot one out. He's beaming for a lot of damage. Spots the other, gets the knock on. He's gonna swap to this R301, takes down the Pathfinder. DNMK on a tear down here. Cheetah Boy is your kill leader in this first game right now. And they're gonna make their way back to the zone.
Cheetah Boy almost living up to his name right there. You'd say he was using some hacks because that aiming was just impeccable coming in from him. Yet again, we see this happening. DNMK, the distraction from the one side, Cheetah Boy slots in on the other, able to get the full takedown. Unfortunately, they are a little bit outside of the zone, and it looks like ATK is the team that's slowly but surely starting to get closer and closer to the squad of MTG Apex. And if they end up winning this 3v2 situation, then suddenly they have not only the high ground, but the exact middle of the zone during the final portion of the match. And even though we do have the kill leader being on the side of DNMK, ATK is still making a very decent shot for themselves just based off this positioning alone. If they can sneak into a Thendo, that's the big thing. They know for a fact that there's no way that this position is uncontested. And there's the scan though, coming out of Rex. He's gonna open things up. Swastika getting in with this approach. But the shooting coming in quite decently from MTG Apex, but unfortunately the shooting even better from the side of ATK. They've gotten one. Will they be able to get both? Triple M in a very awkward position now, unable to do anything to help out with his ally Shawnee. And now this entire zone seems to belong to ATK. And for good measure, they take out... Oh, no, they didn't. Okay, Triple M got away. Triple M got away.
Yeah, Triple M did get away. DNMK spots out, I believe that should be Vinko. He was still alive there. And Oxstar being thrown in from Vyaz. Will it find any damage? This is gonna break the door. Oh, yeah, a little bit of damage.
Nice.
Vyaz sends his blood coming in with the wingman. The dome is gonna have to get popped here. And it's gonna be a dome battle here of note. Vyaz is gonna have to pull out and wait from some reinforcements here. But look at Bradley coming in here with the massive. He has nothing to fear. By mistake shoots Vyaz in the course of it. But this Ash just can't do nothing about it. And Vinko goes down to the hands of DNMK. It's gonna be ATK versus DNMK. I mean, this is something, you know, that we see time and time again. And watch Rexu now trying to creep up on the fight just afterward. Can he be a little bit sneakier? Maybe throw that Oxstar in, get a little bit of damage. They've got them around in a pinch.
They've got them in a pinch though, but DNMK saw this approach. ATK left the staging area that they had complete control of to chase this fight. So now they have to be really careful with how they approach this. DNMK sneaking around with Cheetah Boy. Oh, look at this. Look like Cheetah Boy has come up in, but he only gets 2 shots off. Doesn't manage to get much done, but go behind here. Will he be able to get the knockdown? They've cracked the armor, but they get more. The Bloodhound for Rexu at least manages to down Vyaz, but look at ATK. They've got the better clicks right now. And Thendo, this Mastiff has just been so powerful. Every single time they've gotten in these close 3v3 situations, and with that power, they'll end up with the winning situation. They take out DNMK, they take map number 1. ATK getting some redemption from yesterday.
Redemption arc has begun for ATK. And I mean, yeah, they were just angry, right? From last night, they needed their revenge coming into this one. Unfortunately, DNMK had to be at the receiving end, but not much you can really do from that spot, right? They came in, they closed them out, and you know, they just secured their shots in. It was looking good as Cheetah Boy swung around the corner and dealt all that damage, but yeah, it just wasn't enough to close up. It was just a bit of a disjointed fight from DNMK. And I mean, ATK swooping in and getting very much crucial points for themselves.
Very much crucial points. Great win for them, and especially after yesterday, right? The thing that we spoke about this beforehand. You need confidence to build yourself up. You need confidence to make sure that you are in as good a position as humanly possible to go forward. So this is definitely going to help build up their confidence. ATK, a squad that we've seen win events before, need to get back to their winning ways. Does come at the hand of a side that we're not at all biased against with any stretch of imagination, but regardless, it ends up happening here in the EGL Apex tournament, brought to you by Evesports, powered by HP and HP Omen. Going into the second game though here, Thendo, you know, it wasn't, let's just say it wasn't very surprising, the squads that we saw get to the very end of it, right? For the most part, outside of, say, Vinko taking a somewhat early tumble, it kind of went as expected, as we thought, just given what those rosters looked like, right, overall.
Yeah, nah, I mean, I think a lot of it came to the rotations and just a lot of, you know, fights were picked throughout that lobby, right? And you could really see the teams that are confident, right? The ATK, the DNMKs, were just kind of running through and doing what they wanted. And ultimately what happens when you're in a lobby like that, when there's maybe 2 dominating forces, maybe 3 here and there, right? We did see a couple of fights pop through where, you know, Vinko was. it becomes a little bit difficult, right, for either or, right? Because ultimately, most of the time, you'll find that both of them will be in those end games if they continue playing the way they are. And based on just like how the lobby is stacking up against them, it doesn't really seem there's a big stopping force for them right now, besides each other. You know, maybe if they get caught out in a rotation, obviously, you know, they might fall down to a fight. But as long as they're making the right comms and, you know, they're making the right rotations, they'll be coming up on top.
And rotations and calls, yo, we've seen just how important this can actually be in this particular game. But as it stands right now, one of the big things that we are looking towards happening is whether or not, right? And this is actually a very big question. It's whether or not the teams can stay in that same sort of mental zone. We saw Apex, I mean, not Apex, ATK get angry, right? And that anger clearly made a huge, huge difference in terms of what they were able to do in the game itself. This time around, I kind of hope that what we don't see, right, is them stay the angriest team. Because I think other teams there also have cause to be a bit upset, a bit mad, and hopefully that spurs them to greater victory. But one thing that I also want to ask you about, Thendo, or that we should talk about before we get into the second game, the prize money, right? Unfortunately, we don't like to talk about it, but it makes an impact. It makes a difference. And sometimes it feels like to me sometimes that the squads that have won prize money before have less of the monkey on their back about it, right? They're like, oh, it's actually possible for us to do this. But have you've been in this situation, right? Where it's like, guys, we win a couple more games and we actually make money from this. What the hell? And sometimes that actually throws you off your game. You stop having fun because now you're treating it super, super seriously. You can't really get into your zone. So how is it that, what do some of these squads need to do, right, to make sure that they're not thrown off and that their mental game isn't swayed by the fact that they could win 25K for first place, 50,000 Rand in the prize pool? How do you make sure that you don't get blinded by these numbers?
Well, actually, it's 70,000 Rand, if I'm not mistaken, for the prize pool, right? And the payout goes from 1st to 8th place. And I mean, yeah, 1st place walking away with, I believe, 20K, if I'm not mistaken. You know, there's a lot of pillars that need to be correct in the team, right? You need to have a strong IGL that just has that voice for the team to just keep them calm, cool, collected, right? You need to make sure that the team is well regimented, right? Because you can't, you know, it's a bit, well, how do I want to put this? To stroll into a tournament like this, right, and expect to do good and for it to go well against these kind of teams like ATK, against DNMK, right? Can be difficult. So you need to really regiment the team and put in as much practice as you can, right? Sometimes that can be just playing ranked games for like, you know, hours on straight to work on synergy and all these kind of things, right? And, you know, you just gotta sometimes let it go in terms of like, yes, there is prize money to be played for, but ultimately you're still playing a game. You still got to have fun about it, right? And you know what you got to do to make sure that you guys finish on top with it as well, right? So I think it just comes down to making sure that all those pillars in the team are well-rounded and that, you know, there's always that clear voice on the squad that it calms everybody down when things can get a little bit panicked. Because if you ever listen to Apex Legends comms, wow, it can get crazy.
It's wild stuff, man. It is just a lot on the comms there. But speaking of comms, one of the things, we spoke about this before, right? Legend composition is extremely important, especially power usage, knowing who in your team has what available at what specific time. Obviously, the most successful heroes we've seen in recent times, we've seen the comps with the Gibbies, the Wraiths, the Valkyries. In that last map, we did see two pickups that we don't see all that often, right? We saw Watson on the one end, and we saw the Ash coming in from Vinco Gaming. I believe, which squad was it? Somebody had a Bango as well. Bango, obviously not that atypical, but what do you, if you're a team that's playing a somewhat off-kilter meta build, right? You have a somewhat stranger composition than everybody else around you. Is it, even if you know, right? Because oftentimes the squad that does that is not the squad that has the greatest chance of winning the lobby. Do you persist with your ideas, right, of trying out something new? Or do you look at what the winning squads are doing and be like, thanks for that strat, boys. Thank you very much. Control C, Control V, just take what works. Because it does feel like it can go one of two ways, right? The team that does that first, they seem like geniuses if they stick with it and they win everything. But then on the other hand, the team that just copies everybody or copies what's working, and then they always end up top 3, top 4, it's also hard to be like, that's a failure, right? So what approach do you think is best suited for the teams that are still on the come up in this tournament?
Yeah, I think that's a tough one, right? Because, we all watch ALGS, we all watch these pros play, and you're just like, hey, let's analyze their gameplay and try to play like them, et cetera, et cetera. And then, when it comes to game day and you try these things out, it doesn't really work out in your way, right? And, I go back to the IGL, understanding, right, what the pieces of the puzzle are, right? Remembering that you're also one piece of the puzzle, right? Which is always a little bit more difficult in Apex compared to like a five-man lineups, right? Because usually the IGL and five-man lineups, has those four pieces to work with, and you can kind of work around. But with Apex, obviously, you have to be a key piece in that one. But it's understanding what strengths and weaknesses of those players that you have on your squad and playing to those, right? Because if you look at the way ATK and DNMK were playing in that game, they have the mechanical edge over all the teams, to some degree, right? Yes, everybody can shoot, we all can shoot in game, but can you hit as many shots as Cheetah Boy, as Bradley, as Rexu, as Dust, right? Maybe not, right? Why would you then try and copy their playstyle of being really aggressive and just looking, to make these fast rotations around the map and trying to clear up the lobby, where you could analyze it and be like, all right, look, we have these two teams in here that are really dominating. Let's just stay away from them. We don't even need to fight, right? Ultimately, you could just wait until the end game all the time and then just third party. And that's a strategy. And that's why I go back to Finco, who were essentially trying to do that, but they just caught out by that rotation that came through from Prezzies.
Yeah, that was a really good rotation, and it probably surprised them that it was a team that they weren't expecting, right? Who made that kind of drop on them, who were able to get forward, eliminate them from the game that soon. Will be interesting to see if they decide to still stick with the Ash pick and for Horizon, just to try and make sure that they can still maintain that defensive posture, or if they just decide, YOLO gaming, we're going to try to do something different. And speaking of compositions, right, I sort of alluded to this before we started game one, but I've been seeing more and more, or I've been seeing the more Valkyries I see, the fewer lifelines that I see. Is there space in the team for both if you have somebody cracked enough and say, listen, man, you're going to play like some Wraith or something, be uber hyper aggressive, and we'll just back you up, give you everything that you need on the back end of things? Or is it just one of these things where right now you can't afford to be that defensive or have a lineup that just has that much support inherent to it?
Yeah, you see, the way the lobby's playing is really fast-paced, right? So being defensive is gonna have its advantages, but we go back to that moment, right, where we saw MTG get pushed by ATK, who were just holding down the building. Yes, granted, they only had 2 up, but all right, like I said, if you have a hotspot in that final zone, people are going to be looking for that, right? And especially when there's dominating forces in the lobby just running around, they're going to make sure they clear those kind of places and make sure that, hey, is there a team here in the spot? And sometimes playing super defensive can be at a big disadvantage when the lobby isn't, completely full, right? Because you're not going to really get all the benefits of the reason why these defensive legends also did defensive, right? Not looking at Gibby, obviously. We all need Gibby in our team. Right? We're mainly talking about that Watson pick, which is a little bit odd, right? Because if you're going to play Watson, it's very bread and butter. If you throw it back to back when we were playing on Kings Canyon, you used to play Pathfinder, Wraith, and Watson. You used to get the Pathfinder beacon scan, right? You used to know where the end game was, and you start to make your rotation and you hold down fort, right? And everybody was playing like that, right? In the lobby, they would get the scans, they would make these rotations, right? But over the evolution of Apex over the seasons, it's a little bit of a mix of how the playstyles is now, right? Because now you can choose whether you can be a team that likes to hug the edge of the zone and just farm their way in, if you are going to be that team that likes to early rotate and make sure that you're controlling a lot of ground, or you're going to be that bunkering up team that just is like, yeah, no, we're just in this one spot and we're just going to wait it out the entire time.
Yeah, it is a good thing that we actually have more versatility of style. Like, we have more versatility of style on the map, which is interesting, even if we have somewhat less versatility in overall legend composition. But that's what you like to see. You want to see the game evolve with playstyles as well. And as we get into this one, I am thinking Thendo, right? And I'm wondering to myself, we keep talking about the teams that could find themselves at the top, they're winning, you want to get yourself in this good mentality, all this good stuff. But we also have to think about the teams that don't do well in these opening 2 days, right? Those teams that find themselves with not the results they're looking for. Obviously, that happened yesterday to ATK. They were able to come back today with a vengeance. Not every team is going to be capable of doing that, right? Some teams will need to be able to build up. Some teams will only get good in week 4, maybe, right? No, you know what I mean? Yeah. how do you make sure that right now, after you've lost, right, when you come back the next day, you keep playing, how do you build consistency, right? We talked about how do you keep that winning mentality, but how do you build consistency? If you're not a consistent team, you're a team that is up and down every single week, right? You don't have the result that you need to back yourselves up. What is the thing you do? I mean, you mentioned that you play as much as humanly possible. You get involved in the game. You find that in-game leader. You work on your synergy. But is there anything else that squads can do? Like, as an individual player, is there anything that one can do to get yourself into that consistent playing world?
Yeah, you know, I think in terms of consistency, it's always comes down to just the play style, right? And it's locking down a play style and understanding again what suits the players and just trying to regiment and keep that flowing throughout the weeks, and then just developing that play style. And essentially, right, in Apex lobbies, you'll find that, you know, you want everybody to play around you and not you playing again around what people are doing in the lobby, if you get what I'm trying to say here, right? It's more like if we're stuck on this way that we're playing, you know, it'll work out in the long run, even if, you know, we're gonna keep on dying, if we're not gonna be consistent. Like I said, it's having to keep on playing tournaments, it's playing these ranked games and just getting as much experience as you can, and just trying to fine tune these little cracks and finding out what isn't working. And it's so simple as to, you know, not pinging when you see like an enemy, right? Because some people will maybe just opt to give the comm like, hey guys, there's a team rotating on this side. But that one player is a little bit too focused on what's going on that other side instead of that ping that gives that visual, like, make sure you look at this. That's really small things that can change the way a team plays, right? And you'd be surprised how it goes in, you know. But with that, we are loading into the second game. And
Yes. I'm super hyped. We're loading into the second game right now. We are seeing that nobody really has made any drastic deviations from their squad beforehand. Practically everybody's picked the same thing. So that shows us that everybody's got confidence in their ideas and hopefully going to give us some more confident play as we're getting into the second game here. The drop is coming. Where are we going to see? Tree looks like a very obvious spot for some movement towards, and see a couple of squads also pinging themselves towards the thermal station as well as the staging area. This could end up being a bloodbath here, Thendo, because look how many squads are finding themselves going towards this tree launch site direction of the map. I'm hoping that somebody drops off sooner than later, because otherwise we're going to have a bloodbath to start the game.
Bloodbath, indeed, and that one does drop off. It does look like maybe there'll be only one team side tree. A team coming to Dome, the rejects here. It's a team we should look out for, honestly, Snare. You know, Light Desire Haze, they've been playing a lot of competitive Apex in and out, all the way back to when ZA scrims were hosted by DNMK and ATK, actually. And, you know, they've got the experience to make things happen. You know, they just got to find the synergy with the new member over here, Zero Reflex. So we'll see what they can do with that one. ATK is looking sound and Fragment, and no one's going to contest them there, you know what I'm talking about. And as well as DNMK, they've got Lava Fisher and Countdown all to themselves. They'll be getting all that loot. We have two teams in Skyhook right now. And for now, there isn't any indie fights that are popping off.
But like you mentioned, it might pop off around the Skyhook area. As we do see these two squads. Just, you know, right now it's all about arming yourself, making sure that you are ready for the impending battles that are going to take place. Obviously, the squad there of Access RSA, who actually just have a down happening. Panda Bubblegum taking out the Donut Legends, finding themselves at a difficult start here to life. Unfortunately, Ascend Esports putting themselves a little bit on the map. It looks like Sethi wants some revenge, was upset about how early he got taken out last time. He's like, Clutch, don't worry, my friend. This time I got you. You will not be the last person standing.
Indeed. I will not be the last one up. As just tune in to squads making their rotation, getting some loot. I'd overlooked there was, I believe, a fight that went down, like you said, with Donut Legends. I think only one has gone down thus far. It's Panda Bubblegum. And yeah, Skyhook, Survey Camp, that's north side of the map's looking really heavily contested, right? And you know, when teams have to start making the rotation down into the zone, there's a lot of choke points that, you know, you find on that side of the map, and you might see a lot of fights break loose. The two Skyhook teams have not bothered each other just yet. We'll see.
We've seen, like,
man, it's big.
but it's Hawkeye has had like such good positioning on top of these dudes for so long. I really thought they were gonna be able to get at least see something, but ends up not happening for now. Instead, gonna be like, well, whatever, just gonna go loot it up a bit more. But You're right. There's a lot of space in the area, and there's no real incentive to try get yourself into that dangerous position just yet, right? Still a long map to go. You don't want to do the thing of you get too aggressive early, then you're the squad that gets taken out the first one. You know, everybody's after those points. It's more important to get as many points as possible right now by getting as high up than it is to get as many kills as possible. So completely understand the situation.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, a win is 12 points, right? Are you gonna get 12 kills in this game? I don't know, man, you know, unless you're ATK or DNMK.
We haven't seen a Kraber come out just yet, so anything can happen, you know.
Oof, man, Kraber. Oof, Kraber. Love me some Kraber content. Ooh, DNMK might be running into Prezzies over here.
Okay. Donut Legends also in a bit of a dangerous position. As there's going to be some action potentially. Oh, nice shots, Prezzies. They get the drop first, but they don't actually manage to get the kill. So the escape will be there, but now here come reinforcements. Oh, nice use of the shooting there, but not going to be enough to get the full crack. Cheetah boy, my goodness, what was that, Thendo? How on earth?
Dude, Cheetah just farmed him, man. I mean, you know, they were really distracted by the two players pushing up, and now DNMK has been able to reset, and Yates Bradley swooping in with the PK. It's the shot that he needs here to get the knock. He does indeed, as he tries to assist his teammates, pulls out the 30-30 repeater. Just gonna be the PK shot. With 7 damage, that's a bit odd. That's not nice to see, but they clean it up. And it was looking soft for them, right? You know, Viaz was caught off guard, had to use his dome to make sure he gets that cover as Bradley tries to swoop in to help, also gets beam, but you know, you're not looking out for Cheetah Boy. He's always lurking, he's always watching.
Listen, if you see DNMK on the map at any given point in time and you only see Bradley or Viaz, rather run away, leave it, because you're just like Cheetah's definitely coming in on the flank to take you out. Great elimination there. Unfortunately, Percy's, you know, they thought they had a decent position here, Thendo. Ends up not being the case. So everyone now knows, well, stay away from DNMK as long as you can, you know. Donut Legends, there was actually a point where they weren't too far away, but now they are running on the complete other side of the map. They don't want any of the smoke.
But Bamza here, holding down the tunnel. I wonder what they're waiting for. Right, Zone is, you know, gonna be rotating, and actually there's a team in front of them. I think it's gatekeeping them. Yeah, it's Ellie Axis who's holding them out, just waiting for them to either rotate out this side or the other side, and I mean they'll wait. Oh no, they're actually just gonna redeploy. Just gonna get out of there.
Bye. We're out.
I mean, given that the map is pulling towards the lava siphon / Geyser area, you know, you gotta make this rotation if you're on that north side of the map. ATK might get themselves in a fight, yeah.
I was about to mention that. They have such good positioning on the side ground that if they see this redeploy, they might be able to get off a couple shots here. And they could also find themselves involved in some action quite soon, given where they are. But on both sides, they are actually in a position where they could scout out both the approach right now of the early access squad. But on the other side, Thendo, they are not alone. We still have the MTG Apex team, yet again employing the strategy of trying to hold position as much as possible. But fortunately for early access, they don't go too deep into the area here. They stay on the edge, close to the epicenter rather than the fragment part, and that allows them to not really get completely peeked out, and they get some vision going for themselves. They've already deployed some of the pings. They know where and who to avoid, so they're probably going to start retreating in the opposite direction.
Shots coming through here from Thomas Moore. Small, the R301, not really connecting for too much right now, as they have to make this rotation just into epicenter. I mean, they're all holding the top of the roof, just waiting for this team to maybe overextend and one of them to peek. Longbow in the hands here of Kinda Kong. I like that name.
Kinda calm. Just kinda calm. Not very calm. Just a little bit. We do have a Valkyrie deploy that we see happening. Unfortunately, the shots that came in there from Thomas Moore weren't enough to deal any decisive damage. The Kiwi Love squad has also found themselves in a good position here on the map, you know. Just making sure that they have all their shields up. Ooh.
There's a bit of a fight going down over there. I believe between... Is it Ascent right now?
No, it's MTG. MTG Apex is like running all the way, the hell away from ATK. ATK got a little bit of scouting out on them. Swastika, I think he found the scan in that situation. And MTG Apex, they remember what happened last time. You know, they're like, no, but they're running into DNMK. This is an awful place to be. What a sandwich, Thendo. Between a Rock and a DNMK place, will they be able to survive the shot going down range? Unfortunately, the Swastika already broken Shawnee, but they might find themselves running into DNMK right now. They've taken out the squad. MTG Apex is down. They were taken out on one side by DNMK, on the other by ATK. So war is inevitable in this corridor. They've already gotten one.
Oh, Dust!
Shut down. What?
DNMK is actually going to push through the gear. Fires now coming through R301. He's got the Mastiff in hand. He can't take this dome fight in. He doesn't connect with the shot. He's taking up a lot of damage. He pulls up his own dome. And this is going to be a big fight over here. He needs to do as much damage as he can. They did manage to get one knock so long onto Dust. The armor is going to come through. Volcano's also down. It's all up to Rexu and DNMK. They're getting their revenge over here against ATK. Oh, wait! For a second, but not too long. As they'll clean that one up. Get Cheetah back on his feet. And that's ATK out.
That's ATK out. The winner of the last map already eliminated by the runners-up of DNMK. Now it's seeming like it might be their map to play for. It came a lot closer than I thought it would, Thendo. Rexu, yet again, showed us some mad hype there with the mask, but ultimately ends up not being good enough. So the rest of the game now is probably going to be in their favor. And they're still not that far away to be able to access the zone. As we see action happening on the other side, the She unit. Woo, that was nice.
Yeah, Carnival connecting for some good damage there. Daniela needs to pop this med real quick, taking up a lot. Some nice shots again from Carnival, dealing 72 damage there. Just gonna hold them out. No real big pushes being made right now. Both squads are on edge of zone here, so you gotta be careful for this next one, because they don't want to be too far away from it. And it's Vinko on the opposite side, who've been coming from the dome.
Vinko, with these peaks coming in from Kano, doing quite a bit of damage downrange. No shield cracks just yet. Oh. Might have one coming up soon, but looks like they're trying to reposition as well on the inside. They don't really want to find themselves falling too far out on the side of She unit. And just going to be a small retreat from Kano as well. Not feeling super confident about this positioning. The team might also be deciding to just retreat a little bit and push rather deeper into the zone. You'll take this fight later. For now, it's more important to get that future positioning. And, you know, you already know the approach that the enemy is going to be coming from anyway, so you can try and cover that rotation in advance.
All right. 9 squads up. Everyone's trying to make their way in. We've got a couple of teams already in zone. Just holding things out. The rejects have got a really nice spot there. And guys, all right, if it pulls towards them, they've got a lot of zone control. MK, just the duo, just hugging things out here. Just waiting for the zone to probably pull in. They do have that Valkyrie redeploy, so they will be able to get in if things get tough. And we still have Vinko and She unit just in a bit of a standoff still. DNMK on the prowl as usual, making their way and traversing the land just outside of Lava Siphon. We'll see what kind of action they get in. I mean, you know that, you know, as soon as you see the red armor, they've been gaming, right? You know, they've been doing damage.
You know that they're out here making the most happen on the map. Does look like between Thomas More and the ZA squad, we might have some action breaking out here at the edge of the Lava Siphon, right outside of the zone control as well. It is a bit of a scary situation. The She unit squad are sort of zoning them out from ZA 420. And look at this, might have a quick longbow shot here coming in from the Thomas More squad. Kidder Kong looking from some angle to get in a shot. Doesn't want to waste these bullets. And oh, there we go. Shot coming out, but unfortunately position revealed without doing much damage. Regrettably, they now have to really consider where they are on the side of Thomas More, as Early Access knows exactly what's happening in this position.
Yeah, Early Access is just gonna hold on and just let that zone push them in. They're not in zone either, right? So this is one of those fights that they're just taking on and hoping that they'll be able to clean up real quick so that they can make their way into zone. And they're still holding at the top over there.
Nice. Zone reduction is coming. The team that's really in trouble on this one, though, is going to be the side of Thomas More. They're well outside of an effective place, and the shots are going off here, Thendo. Great crack there. That's going to be a great way to take somebody down. Horizon not able to stay alive here in Early Access. They're outside the ring and in an awkward position here. Everybody practically knows where they're going to be coming from, but they make it anyway. People are occupied elsewhere. It's colder. Him and the gang from Evesports find themselves in contest right now. Will they be able to get these shots down? Downrange with the R99. Finishes all the ammo though. Needs to re-battery up while colder, creating space by pushing up into the opponent. There's going to be the shield down. Going inside it. There's going to be the shot. Do they get the full down? It's a crack. It's a down. And there we go. It's starting to work out here. We unfortunately will have another couple of kills happening. And ThendoPlays and Evesports put themselves on the board with some kills.
Yeah, good teamwork there from Evesports. DNMK is in a bit of a fight over here outside Lava Siphon. Shots being popped from Cheetah Boy through the dome. Cheetah Boy currently the kill leader in the lobby with 4. As they're just holding onto the spot right now, DNMK ascend at this guy's area. As they work their way back in. Looks like they're pinging out a spot that they want to hold. There's still a couple of teams on the north side that need to make this rotation in. Just waiting it out a little bit too long. Zone is only 1 minute 20 seconds out, at least for now. But the kind of Kong there seems to be taking up a little bit of shots. I wonder what's going down there. Early axes. They need to be aggressive in the situation. Indeed, they are. Taking a couple of shots. They also need to prioritize their rotation, just making sure to clear all angles here. Cyberstorm. They need to make sure that this team doesn't get into, you know, a spot that would grief them ultimately. Ooh, there you go. The shots are being shot. Sometimes the words will just escape you. The shots are being shot, I swear. Bradley has to pop a bat to recover some shields. But they're just holding out. Ooh, the charge rifle's gonna be a little bit nasty there in the back of Cheetah. He's gonna have to back off, get some meds in as they just try and hold their squad out.
Trying to hold as much as humanly possible right now, but they know that this approach is coming. So they're trying to prepare themselves for it. The early access gang, what will they be able to do here on this attempt to try and push up? They looks like they want to try and rather go for the full wrap here instead of just going for this rather aggressive way uphill. And it's working out for them. They've gotten out of dodge. They're out of danger at the moment. And it does seem like DNMK will end up engaging a different squad. This Cheetah boy looking for somebody to shoot. He's like, where was prey? It was right in front of me a moment ago. Bradley and Vyas, though, have found some prey on the left side here. Will he be able to get these peaks is the question. He's looking for it. He knows the angle that he needs to try and reach, but unable to find anything just yet. Are gonna have some nades going in. And looks like they don't really want this smoke either on the side of Thomas Moore. They thought they wanted to come in this direction, but in retrospect, they're like, maybe not. You know, and we see it yet again. Cheetah boy was hoping to scout forward, doesn't really find his prey. Instead gets shot in the face, so like let's just hold on for a little bit before we make this super dangerous push. And it might be a pincer maneuver here, Thendo. Weaker team trying to take out DNMK.
I mean, it's a play, right? You need to, because right now, if you're looking at the lobby, they're definitely a favorite to close this one up right now. There's a lot of squads already in zone, just holding out some position that, you know, even though DNMK is fighting here and they're getting a lot of attention, they're not prioritizing their rotation and positioning in zone. Unless they're masterminds and they've read this one well, to some degree. They don't have to rotate too far, so they can hold things out over here. This Vaya is gonna throw this ulti down. He is gonna shoot that one in for a 3 and see if he gets any damage in. And they're stuck at the edge there, that team, so they're gonna take a lot of damage, hopefully. And there's the big cracks. It's a lot of cracks that are coming through here, but they're pinched in. DNMK can't really push in, or else that other squad's just gonna third party them. So that ulti goes down to no avail with all that damage that was dealt by Vyas. DNMK might have to start prioritizing the rotation. It does look like that's maybe an option right now.
While that was busy happening, Vinco Gaming has been fighting up against the side of ZA420, and they've managed to almost eliminate the squad. They're down to only Panda Zoo, and if he's not able to find the full squad revival, it's going to be a dangerous scenario. But oof, regrettably, it doesn't happen. That's going to be a really great way to get a kill there. Nice done by Kano. Vinco Gaming also starting to look for some revenge plays here, Thendo. Looking like they want to put themselves on the map. Great shots down range here with the R99 coming in from Kano. Creating some space. Takes out the charge rifle. Can he get the shot? He does, but not the full kill just yet. Still in a dangerous position. While this is happening, ZA420 does get taken out completely. Vinco Gaming, though, still on the aggressive play here. Radical. Just trying to make sure that there's some survivability happening, but it looks like this has drawn the attention of other squads as well, as there are several squads converging on the area. It looks like all the action at the end of the game, Nintendo, is going to be happening close to the geyser.
Enemy spotted.
Yeah, but it's pulling outside of it. Look at DNMK, look at their spot. I mean, you guys just gave it to them, apparently. They weren't even in the zone a few seconds ago, and now look where they are. Positioned at the tippy top of the high ground, and they'll just have an overview of everybody. They've got a Spitfire there, if I'm not mistaken, as well to work with, so that's gonna be good. Yeah, Spitfire on the hands of none other than Cheetah. And shots are being flying through here in the distance. He's connecting for quite a little bit. He's gonna get that knock. Yeah, Vyas confirms it on that knock. And things are going down for a send. Oh, he's going in. Please, Kraber. We pray for Kraber.
Let's see. Will the prayers be answered? They will not.
G7 Scouts. Unfortunately.
Looks like you're praying to the wrong gods, you know.
Oh, Vinko's in a tough spot over here. Oh my goodness. Ash is gonna have to dip away, but nothing can really happen. It's all up to Radical, the Valkyrie, all lonesome
of the
zone. It's ticking,
no.
and that's just gonna be a zone death. Honestly, GG's.
That's it. There's no way out of that situation. That's such a sad thing.
Yeah.
But I'm also feeling a bit worried and concerned about the She unit, fam. They're trapped inside here. There's no way out for them. They're being completely covered by early access, and it's quite apparent where they are, so other squads will also know what's happening. But early access aren't the only ones that have this lead, because other squads in the vicinity, you see the DNMK squad coming in with some shots already. Colder gets taken out. The rest of the Ascent Esports squad now reliant on Sethi. Will he be able to get the full res onto everybody? Doubtful. And at the same time, DNMK just chilling, quietly still maintaining pressure from outside. And everybody is instead fighting on the inside of these containers. Great shots coming in with the Spitfire here. We'll get a full crack on the Jibby. No
It's
drop
raining! It's raining! Help! The bullets are just flying in that direction. What do you even do about that besides just run away? The worst part about it all, 30 seconds till the next zone, right? And the squads are just pinched onto the other side. DNMK is looking good. Sethi's ratting things out as well as he can, but he's in a really tough spot on the zone. He's probably gonna walk into DNMK on the back. Maybe he'll get a nice little grief, but the squads in front are still gonna take up these fights, you know, as much as they can. She unit in the axis, just trying to hold things down. We've got Thomas Moore as well. We're just trying to make this rotation, and then goes down kinda Kong to the hands of Vyas. And it's that G7 Scout that we were complaining that we saw, but it's actually doing some damage here for Vyas.
Between that Scout of Bias and the young Spitfire that we see in the hands of Cheetah Boy, they're just practically making it impossible for anybody to move around, man. They're like, where are your papers? You don't have the right papers. You can't pass this bridge. Taking out so many shields on the way. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a full squad downing yet, and we'll see early access. They actually managed to take a hero, a legend down there on Thomas Moore. Oh, nice. No more Bloodhound.
He just catches the timing. He just catches the timing because Vyas was trying to clear him. Shin unit has moved down to the bottom of where DNMK is. Some damage is coming on to Vyas. We'll get back into the dome and try pop this battery. The teams are just fighting on the edge of the zone over there, and DNMK just has full reign to see everything here. The shots aren't quite connecting for Vyas, unfortunately, with the G7 Scouts, but you know that the teammates, Bradley and Cheetah Boy, are doing everything that they can to get these knocks in. And no, Bradley, don't do it to them. Don't do it to them. Don't look down on them.
He's gonna
rain these shots down.
Listen, he's gonna do them dirty like this, man. They're in such an awkward position right now, trapped at this corner, this little enclave that can somewhat protect you. But unfortunately, the counterpoint is that once you get found out, there's practically no way out. And they're doing the old thing, man. Bradley is keeping position. Cheetah Boy is coming up. Vyas knows what's up. And there's going to be the full scan. There is going to be a very difficult way out of this situation. But also, they don't have to play super aggressively, right? When you have that good of a positioning and you know for a fact that you have a better way of having this high ground advantage, you're going to have this. And here we go. The Spitfire shot. It's raining once more. That is going to be a break. No drop just yet, but it feels like it will be a matter of time at this point, Thendo.
Yeah, it's inevitable, honestly. And Sethi can just grief She unit for the most part, you know. If I'm Sethi, I'm just griefing She unit and not taking too much damage, just so that DNMK can knock them out, get that sneaky second place, because that second place can be really clutch. And looks like Bradley's still trying to beam them from the top, yeah.
Okay, let's watch Sethi. Let's see what he's doing. Look at him creeping all along here, looking for this extremely aggressive play. You got
Vyas, come on!
Vyas, what are you doing? No!
Okay, we're down to a 3v3 though. And if you look at it, DNMK is actually the team that needs to go down eventually, right? So is DNMK gonna drop on? But She is deciding to rotate out of the, in the open. He's gonna have a lot of damage, and that is gonna be a beam. Cheetah Boy gets the one knock. Guys, you just come on. This is fish in the barrel at this point, man. Like, damn. Yeah. They're just gonna try and clean them up real quick.
One left, and there's no way you're gonna get the double res on this one. DSG, DNMK, they get the final kill. 8 kills at the end there for our boy Cheetah Boy. Tied up as well with Vyas, the two of them really acing this particular game. And Thendo, you were saying, you know, it's down to a 3v3. Honestly, with how that mountain was factoring into how easy it was for DNMK, it felt like it was a 4v3, fam. Just so much easier for them. They clutch it out. And not only do they clutch it out, you know when they took out ATK, sometimes it happens, you take out the big rival on the map, you're like, sweet, the other good team in the lobby is out, and then you end up you lose concentration, you fold, you flop. Didn't end up happening here today. A clean performance that we see from the boys in blue.
Yeah, really clean performance coming in from them, right? And you bring it back to that fight in that tunnel, because if you think about it, right, whoever wins that fight probably ends up winning this game based on the rotation paths that DNMK picked. ATK probably would have picked the same, path roundabout and found themselves in the same kind of situation. And I mean, kudos to DNMK for just reading that game in. And, at the point when they were fighting those teams on the edge, just outside of where the fragment is by that little compound, I thought that maybe they are biting a little bit too much than what they can chew here. Clearly not, because they made it to the most optimal position, which is odd for me that none of the squads were looking at that spot in the first place, right? To maybe, called their own, or was there a squad there that DNMK just pushed down and they had to leave because they knew exactly what they were facing up in front. I mean, really interesting game. Snare, here's an interesting question as well. You see that first fight to end off the first game, right?
Yeah.
Had ATK been slightly further, it could have gone differently. We could have seen a back-to-back DNMK win, right? Just the way that they've been playing today, right?
Yeah, they've been playing extremely well. And like you mentioned, that first game, I think, is also indicative of how important positioning can be in this game, right? Where had they been, like you mentioned, slightly more forward, just a myriad of small things could have changed to give them that victory. It ends up not being the case. And if you're a team like ATK, you're looking at that and like, thank God we've got that kind of positioning, because if we didn't win that game, suddenly we don't have the easy 12 points to our name at that point. So, whew, things are very close right now, Thendo. Things are very close. And one thing I love about the way that things are this close is that it does mean that the third game, I mean, even that tunnel fight, if it had gone in the direction of ATK, it's probably them that have back-to-back victories. But it also means that one of these two squads will want to get themselves the 2 victories in the day and put themselves very far up on the leaderboard. But while the squads are getting ready to put themselves on the leaderboard, you can put yourself into some free swag. We like giving away free stuff. It's not just to the players who are trying to earn their money. You can get it just by watching the game. So if you go over onto your chat right now and just type the words EGL Apex, that's EGL Apex, no spaces, no caps, just all in small caps, EGL Apex, and you can make sure that you win yourself an EveTech clutch mousepad. These mousepads are pretty legit. They're very smooth, help you get those flick shots out. So make sure that you get yourself a part of that action. And remember, type it in once. No triple typing, double typing. You do it once, and that's it. Any more than that, you get disqualified. There are rules to this. Nintendo, we don't like to talk about it, but gear, peripherals, extra swag, all these little things can add up to make a difference, right, in your results in these games.
Yeah, it really can make a difference, right? Especially things like a mouse pad when you're trying to hit that flick and then you flick off the mouse pad and it's like, what do you do about that, right? But yeah, I think, going back to just that game and, how DNMK had so much control of just what was going down. I think you just have to highlight a lot of the decision making coming through from the IGL, right? Cheetah Boy, who is playing the Wraith, right? And usually,
so bizarre.
Right. It's bizarre to have like your top fragger, leading the team, right? But lead from the front, lead by example. It's a good way to put it. And I mean, you got the support there from both, Vyaz and Bradley, who I think are probably 2 of the best support players in South Africa, or at least in the sub-Saharan region. As long as you got Cheetah Boy right in the front over there, you got the 2 side by side. I mean, they got it down and good. And I think you look even at where, ATK is. I'm wondering, I think, if I'm looking at the squad, I would guess that IGL is maybe Rexu, maybe Das, not too sure. But again, if it is Rexu, another one leading from the front and, just leading the charge and trying to, motivate the team by just showing that, like, hey guys, we can do this, we are better in second circumstances. But we have to look at these teams here that just aren't cutting it tonight, Snare. I mean, like, what do you even do about them, right? We're looking at like Gibby Love here. MTG has never had a good one too much, right? So what do you tell these kind of squads coming into this third and final game? What do you do to just pick it back up?
I think you tell them that it can get better, right? Because let's say, for example, a team like Thomas More, who in the first game, I think they were one of the first 3-4 squads that got taken out. This time around, they went fairly deep into things before things started to go south for them. So it is possible, I think, for them to think about the fact that, listen, guys, there are 14 teams here. Let's say the top 5 teams, usually we expect them, we know who they are, right? It's going to be ATK, it's going to be the DNMK squad, Ascend's probably involved in that mix somewhere, But the other ones, You know, we saw She Unit, for example, do a lot better in game 2, the same as Thomas More. So I think you just tell yourself that, listen, guys, the issue is maybe our decision making. We can make better decisions. I can't immediately just become a better player, but I could just say, hey, let's drop somewhere else. Let's try. I mean, luck also comes into it. I feel like if you find yourself sandwiched in between DNMK on the one side and ATK on the other, you're screwed no matter what. So just try to calm down. Try to just breathe. Remember that, like you mentioned earlier, it's still a game. You're here to have fun. You're here to enjoy yourself. You're here for the money, but you can't get to the money if you're not actually enjoying the play itself. So it's possible. And we have to also remember, it's a long road. Here we're at the EGL Apex tournament, hosted by Evesports, powered by HP and HP Omen. It's a long road. This is not the end of it. So even if you have 1-2 bad nights, there's still hope for you down the line. So I've always noticed that the teams that are able to better contextualize what the run should look like, rather than focusing purely on every single game, those are the teams that come out aces. But it also helps if you just win every game, right? DNMK, I'm sure, once they get into game 3, they're chilling right now. They're like, guys, go enjoy yourself, you know, it's fine. You don't have to worry about having to be as cracked as you were. They're probably going to give Cheetah Boy a break. They're like, dude, you don't need to put up 8 kills. It's fine. Just relax.
Yeah, I mean, 2 back-to-back solid games from them, right? You know, and going back onto you just have to come back the next time and realize that the journey is really long. I'm looking at ATK, who had, you know, I'd say an awful night yesterday. They weren't really performing to the standard that you'd want, you know, an organization with the prestige of ATK to be performing. Tonight's been a little bit different, right? Won the first game, second game, you know, what do you do when you go up against your counterpart that's kind of doing the same thing as you in the lobby? This time around, let's hope that they've read the rotations, right? I mean, we should all know by now that DNMK is going to be landing, you know, and taking Lava Fisher and the Countdown, and ATK is at Fragment. You know, they're close to each other somewhat, you know, a little bit of the same rotation pops. Maybe, you know, if you're ATK, you want to pull a little bit more towards the east side of the map instead of going west. But again, it depends on what the zone pulls, right? Because if the zone dictates that, hey, it's going to be a west pull, you're gonna end up in DNMK's doorstep, right? Like, what can you do? And vice versa for DNMK, because ultimately that's what we saw in that fight coming out of Landslide, right? DNMK was caught on the side where the zone was going eastward, and then they had to make their way through to where ATK holds normally, and then, yeah, we know what happened afterwards. But coming into this last game, you know, I want to see the likes of Vinko. I was speaking so much about them, and you can just see decision-making wise that they're definitely a team that's got the experience of what it's like to play in a tournament, right? They're not making hasty decisions. They've got these rotations down. They're getting beacon scans here and there, but they're just not finding it, man. They're not finding the momentum. I think Ascend Esports, like I said in the beginning, we should look out for them, and definitely so, right? Sethi made it all the way to the end, ratting things out for a 3rd place finish, which is really good ultimately for them, right? So for me, it's Vinko and Ascend. Any teams that you're looking out for right now that haven't really been up and running?
I would like to see more out of Unit. We saw some kind of cool things, and so especially in positioning in game number 2. And this Percy squad, I kind of feel like if Percy's was better on the shooting, right, and a little bit more proficient at their peaks especially, they might have even had an opportunity to take out DNMK in that last map. Remember, they had us cold on the map, and it could have been a very awkward situation, but Percy's, I think, is a team that I'm hoping for more out of. But She Unit in particular, I really want to see them go as deep as humanly possible into this 3rd game. And because Thendo, we can't, it would be remiss of us not to mention the fact that we're playing 3 games instead of the 4 that a lot of these teams have become accustomed to. And that changes the dynamic of how you go into this, right? This is not the second last opportunity. This is it. You need these points. You need this particular map to go well. If it doesn't, suddenly you're looking at the rest of the tournament run and you're like, ish, if it becomes required for us to place top 5 every single time just to have a chance on the line, it doesn't start to feel that good. So I'm hoping that we're going to see, well, the 2 teams you mentioned, you know, Ascend, Vinko, She Unit, Percy, I want to see them do well, because let's be honest, we don't want to see ATK, DNMK just sweep everything, right? Them, Nibble, we expect to see them do well. It's all about seeing other teams coming up as well, creating more competition, finding the next kind of crack gamers, right? We want to find the next Cheetah Boys, the next Rexus, and be like legitimately impressed by what they're putting onto the field right now. And as we're going into this 3rd one, one thing I also want to see, I just want to see a Kraber, man. What the hell has been going on with the Apex squads? They haven't been gifting us all the good stuff, man. We've not been getting anything that makes like those big, sweet, juicy damage numbers. It's just been, oh, the better team that's shooting at us is winning. I want to see some luck get more involved in this, man.
Yeah, you know, yesterday a similar thing happened. It was quite funny. The entire first series, no Kraber at all, and then as soon as the second series starts, right, we see two Krabers in the same game.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Why is this happening like this?
Oh,
But yeah,
that's awful.
you know, another issue that we should raise in the lobby, right, Snare, is the fact that they're playing with 15 teams in it, right? And it's 15 with a duo on top of that, right? Because the team of MSMK don't have their third in tonight. Ultimately, like I said in the beginning, where there's more spots on the map to drop, less contesting, etc., but it also means there's less KP now on the map, right? If you're looking
Yeah.
at that, right? Because now instead of getting those, you know, few fishy kills here and there while you're trying to make your rotation, you don't really find them, right? Because most of the time, those rotation pops aren't being covered because there isn't a team to be covering that rotation.
Yeah, it actually does feel like pretty much every kill that we've seen so far has been full-on duels, right? We haven't actually seen just a quick one pick off from far downrange. It's like, well, the whole squad's getting in, boys. Call up the homies. It's about to go down. And speaking of going down, we're finally happening, Thendo. We're in this third game. We're going to be getting into it. We've been speaking a lot about the fact that it's an emptier lobby, and that obviously leads into a different style of play. Players are either a bit more cautious, or your aggression isn't rewarded as quickly, right? One thing I'm wondering about empty maps like this, for teams that are obviously super practiced at the game, teams like ATK, DNMK, who we know their rotations are always on point, right? Doesn't seem to bother them as much. Do you think some of these lesser squads need the lobby to be as full as humanly possible, just to get those kills that you're mentioning, as well as to try and build momentum for deeper on in the game?
Yeah, because you know, ultimately it'd be for teams like DNMK and ATK with the experience, like you said, they know how lobbies like this play out, right? When there's a lot of room to walk around and move the units and look for these kind of fights, right? Because the likelihood of getting third party isn't as high because there isn't as many teams, obviously, until obviously we get closer to the end game. And I don't know, we're still seeing the Watson being picked up over here by Bamza. Bit
so
interesting.
confused.
I'm also confused. We have one caustic still with Daniela. I mean, they did well. She unit at least, right? It chose the end game to hold things out. And yeah, I'm just wondering, are we gonna see another DNMK win here, or are we gonna see an ATK win? Who's gonna flip the side of the coin? Or are we gonna have an ultimately new winner coming into this one? The dropship is down straight the center of the map, and these are the kind of drops that you love when everybody has an optimal, drop, and everyone can get to where they need to.
The Apex gods might not have given us Krabers, but they're certainly going to give us an exciting start to the third game. And this means that everybody, like you said, gets to start exactly how they want. And okay, looks like more than one squad might be occupying the tree area here. This is going to be an interesting way to start things out. We've seen teams being this close before, especially in game number 2 without action breaking off. But game 3, nerves starting to get a little bit to people. But it does also feel like, with how spread out everybody's going to be with this very beautiful line drawn by the dropship, I think we're going to be here for a little bit longer. We might even get a smaller zone than what we saw last time around, if you can believe it, because we really came down to the wire.
Looking at DNMK's spot, they got contested this time around as well, right? Well, not completely contested, right? Because the way they've been playing tonight is that they've had 2 drop spots that they're splitting. The one spot, right, where usually you see Bradley and Via's loot is being accompanied now by ZA420. Haven't seen too much of ZA420 today, so Oh no, this is thermal. I mean, the buildings around the map will somewhat look the same, so sometimes it's like, oh, no, actually, we're not there. We're here, actually. Similar zone to that last game against Snare. I wonder if it's going to be almost exact ending, or is it going to pull a little bit more to Geyser. And it's actually Thomas Moore that's down here, contesting, at the countdown.
They're already throwing some shots down range here, gotten some decent guns out of this, but unfortunately not that much ammo to work with, so it's going to be a bit of a difficult area to contest, especially if the shots down range are coming from Bias. Not the person that you really want to be trading long range with, so they do the right thing. They decide to rather back off. DNMK, it looks like they might want to give chase, but I don't think they'll go that far. Unfortunately, this is going to bring them right headlong into the early access lineup, who found themselves a very decent position with some guns here for our young Cyberstorm already on the high ground, or trying to access that high ground with the R3, and might be able to get some shots in. But this is a very fortuitous time for them to make this move on the side of Thomas Moore, because they're not paying attention to the outside area just yet. They're still busy with the loot, so the action's not going to happen. We were promised death, but not today.
Not today, indeed. Still 15 up. They're still vibing. They're just minding their business for now. It does look like DNMK is even making the decision that, hey, you know what, if they don't try to fight, let's not fight either. Lots of teams in that northwest side, even the northeasterly. Quite a few there. Fragment still, only ATK. That's just rotating around. Look at where She unit is right now. They're walking into a little bit of trouble over there by where Big Mord is.
It is an interesting place for them to be at the moment. Unfortunately, we have seen them more than once on this day get trapped in some very awkward areas and have a very difficult time getting themselves out of it. For now, it might be okay, but they soon have to start making a better rotation from this, because once this goes zone, which direction is it pulling here? We don't know just yet, but once it starts to happen, if you're not in the correct place, then suddenly, more than once we've seen them today, getting dragged out of position and into sort of like these kill corridors.
Yeah, guys are finishing as well. I believe this is a new observer feed where you can see the next zone over, which is quite nice.
Beautiful. Shout out the observer.
Very nice to see. And I mean, now if you're one of those teams that have got that beacon scan, right, it's like natural instinct as an Apex player that's played countless seasons on the world's edge. Guys are finished. You gotta get there as quickly as you can, right? Because the thing about it is there's so many endings in this one spot that if you don't have a place to play, it can be a little bit tough for you. And remaining looking at these teams on the north side of the map, there are so many of them that still need to make these rotations. Tuning in over here to Thomas Moore at Trials, who have transitioned out of the countdown. I'm looking for a little bit more loot. Donut Legends are still making this their way, and they're close to countdown. Hey, you gotta be careful. They might run into each other and get this fight in the zone.
We also have a small fight that might break out on Trials. DNMK closing in onto the Thomas More squad, and on the other side of them is the Donut Legends. So we'll see what DNMK get out of this. They see this drone here, so they will know that this is not a surprise maneuver anymore. But the question is, exactly how do they want to counteract this? Vias and the gang, they're on the high ground. Bradley getting some shots out already. There's going to be the scan. There's already going to be a nice shield break happening. Vias taking out J-Bro. Do they want more out of this? Thomas Moore, they see this fight happening. Shield shots through it, but they trying to run away before they get shot down by DNMK. It will not matter. Vias and the gang just run them down and they take everybody out. The Thomas Moore squad is no more, Thendo. And DNMK, once again, get killed on the board for Vias.
Someone needs to do something, you know. ATK, where you at? We need you to come stop DNMK because they're just running rampant. As I say that, ATK is involved in a little bit of a fight there, it looks like. See Volcano in the kill feed. Nice. And they're outside here, making their way. Outside of... Oh!
Rexu, man.
Rexu, damn. You didn't have to do him like that.
Relax, dog. Does Rex know it's only a game, my G?
There's money on the line. What you talking about, man? Damn.
Oh.
Okay,
while we're talking about this, no. Colder also managed to get a drop onto opponent
there.
That
nade is huge.
What a huge nade. They need to retreat very quickly. We see the shield attempt coming in from Sammy, knowing full well that opponents are right outside. Vinko can get in for this aggression, and the same Esports we're also having a bleed out on Clutchy right inside here. There will be a res though from Sethi and Colder, as the Vinko Gaming don't want to fully pursue Ascend Esports. They retreat a little bit from the area. So a lot of damage being done, Thendo, but nobody actually dying in this entire skirmish.
Yeah, Ascend Esports is taking down the rejects. I think you're checking the kill feed there. That's what just happened. And She unit is obviously over here with Vinko. Look at where ATK has now traversed all the way up here where 8% is. And Devotion and Dust weaker. Can I tell you something? He's like the only person I know that actively uses the Devotion.
Yep.
He is a Devotion user. I guess that's what the D is for, you know?
Listen, you have to be devoted if you're going to be a Devotion user. No. The gun it demands loyalty. Once you show that loyalty, then it allows you to get killed with it, so...
And he just uses it as if it's like an R301, dude. I'm just like, how? Every time I pick up a Devotion, it's all over the show, you know? But,
no.
12 squads now. A couple teams have gone down in these early fights.
The She unit squad is right now right around the side of Vinko Gaming. They're playing around the same area here by Lava City. The question is, who's going to try and drop down first on the side of Vinko? They know that opponents are down here. Some shots are happening though. Gibby Love find themselves in a great position. They get out, but nice down there. Another shield break happening. Pretty nicely done from them. Give you love for Latch today. Honest Bloodhound doing a great job at the moment with the Spitfire. It looks like that's been the gun of this lobby so far. Just doing amazing work for so many squads across these 3 games.
Yeah, Spitfire is definitely lethal. Taking the right hand, and there is Latches. That's the plot. Oh, 9-9. It's not going to be enough, but the team's going to swoop in and be able to just clean it up for him, get that res on. All is well in the world here. And Gibby Love is doing good well. You know, we haven't seen too much of them. Last night, they got into a situation where Pickle was ratting out, you know, for a really extended long time. That Cam went crazy about it, and here they are now playing as the full team. Oh my goodness! It looks like Carnival's been up a little bit too much. What you can do? That pot is a little bit odd. So it doesn't take him to the most safe ground. And it does look like Vinko is going to try and aggress onto this, but that dome is going to be a little bit difficult for them to push up on. And here they are with the gas as well, yeah. And that's when you're like, why are you picking Caustic? I don't understand, you know? And here's why. To hold positions like this when fights are breaking loose in these kind of areas here, just outside Lava City. As they're trying to make this rotation, the zone's going to be closing, not soon at least, so they can take this fight up.
Take a little bit of time, but we see more action breaking out as ATK. They've also found some new prey themselves. We see that the speaker trying to use that devotion to good straight, but not going to end up happening. So much conflict happening on the map right now, and with 10 squads, still, or 11 squads rather, still remaining in the lobby, still a lot to happen. ATK trying to cover as many of these angles as possible.
Vinko's going down right now. It looks like to the hands of She Unit. 2 are down. It looks like Cano's able to get a knock on as well. As we tune back in here. Carnival cleans it up with the 3K! Hello, Carnival! Welcome to the lobby tonight. Vinko goes down.
I mean, this was actually really great, right? Carnival, we already saw some practically highlight plays from them already. Yeah, very interesting usage of the portal. Got them back into a good position, and now the full 3K takes out the full squad, and then the res on the entire squad. If She Unit ends up going deep in this, Carnival will certainly be their MVP.
DNMK, ATK in the same spot once again. And there comes the shots that are flying through. Instant lock onto Volcano. Oh my goodness, Cheetah Boy. Coming through that R301. The dome is popped as well so that they can all get some shields back up. And I mean, straight after this, they're just going to insta-push. What can you really do? But it's going to be Rex who can just try to hold it down. But the nades are everywhere. The Q has to be popped. Dust goes down and all up to Rexu, who has to slide on away to pop this bat. But who else but DNMK against ATK? This battle that's been going on for so long in ZA Esports, especially in Apex Legends.
It's been a long battle. That was a somewhat long fight, but ATK come off the worst for it. And this time around, Thendo, it wasn't even we're inside tunnels and we find ourselves having to fight over who gets to kill another squad. That was just a heads-up fight with DNMK. Took quite decisively. Rexu, the lone survivor for ATK, will do the right thing and run away. Play these more SETI-like plays. Like, boys, if we win, I'm going to have to rat this one out. But once again, we have DNMK's favorites for this third map. We do see a reload coming in from the Donut Legends. I think they're probably the team we've seen redeploy the most on this Valkyrie, but hey man, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. You avoid the strong squads, wait until you have better pickings, and there's still 10 squads left, so quite a bit of Apex yet to go. And not a lot of time for security, but looks like we also have some fighting deep in the zone here.
Oh, Early Access is getting pinned down, I believe, by DNMK. We're on this rotation path just now, and Early Access don't have the redeploy to get up dodge right now. They're just gonna have to hold the edge over here. Thankfully for this new rotation path, they will be able to make their way out. Oh no! Hawkeye's gone down to none other than Cheetah Boy. Insta finish as well. Nothing you can really do about that. Vyaz is gonna try and swoop in and finish off the rest of this team. And I mean, DNMK just coming in. The PK shots, it's just connecting with the flat line. What do you even do to stop DNMK at this point for Early Access? Just rat, honestly, just go and rat. That's the last player.
Yep. There's no other option. You just say, alright guys, you know, game is hard, but you know, that's actually twice now that we've seen DNMK leaving the Wraith alive and the Wraith just runs away. Leaves the rest of the team behind. But what can you do? That's DNMK now very handedly ahead in points. Still though, they could get taken out here because we see Gibby Love.
Do you see both rats on the same side? They're running the same path. The DNMK is just gonna chase them down, I swear.
Oh, lol. Alright, so ThendoPlays and Colder, they're on the side of Ascend Esports. It looks like they're also finding themselves in a little bit of conflict here. Trying to get some shots down range. But Unfortunately for them, it's not going to be an easy situation.
Back in the
Although they
game,
have
by the
decent
way.
positioning.
ATK's back, they got the res in.
They get the reses. What?
But DNMK's still over here, and Cheetah is back at it again. Is this gonna be him killing them for a second time over as they're gonna be pushed up against the zone? Cheetah Boy's trying to find the angle right now with Bradley and Vias working together to try and accompany each other. But ATK's Volcano's just gone down to Vias, and I mean, yeah, progress, but not for long enough. God, please! Those beams! Coming from Cheetah Boy, someone needs to check that man's PC because that R301 with the 3 times seems a little bit too deadly for my liking.
Very strong, very strong. The speaker at the very least does manage to get himself back inside the ring, but it's a trap here, Thendo. They know exactly where he's at. He's trying to flee as much as he can. Cheetah Boy got in some amazing pot shots. The speaker does survive for now, but yet again, it's going to be a big problem because you know who got taken out, right? It's one thing if you end up, my friend, in a situation where you lose Volcano or whatever, but Rexu, the man who has done everything for the ATK squad, he's the one that's bleeding out outside the ring right now. Not in a great place, and soon he's just going to get easily taken out.
Hello, Fires. Nice little shot there around the corner to take down Dust. And commendable for the res, but just fit DNMK some extra points. A bit unlucky. It's Pickle again, ratting! Give me love! It's still Pickle's in a similar situation. Someone get Cam Siege back here so they can give this man some praise.
Hey, somebody needs to get some rat trips out here instead. No, don't redeploy. You're in such a beautifully ratty position. No. Oh no. Alright. We'll see where the redeploy takes them.
Maybe just redeploying to see what better spot is open, because you know. I mean, what else can you say in that position? It does look like a send. It's a little bit of a skerfuffle. But not too big of one. As they just hold the back end. Yeah, they're in a good spot, right? You know, a lot of end games usually end towards this back end of where we see them holding.
They're holding, but Percy's now going to be in a little bit of a fight here against the squad, and they're going to be able to, at the very least, get some positioning around with the full angles. Will they get a break and a kill? Yes, they do. They get one. Will they get more? No, they're actually going to end up beating out. Percy's yet again find a great position, but just don't have the play to complement it. They've already lost to Lunatic Medea. Needs to do it all alone. Will not be able to do it alone. Gets taken out. And the same Esports with iClutch, who are able to get the res as well. They managed to eliminate their first squad of the map here. Get themselves a decent amount of kills on the board as well.
There's just action flying left, right, and center, and this is just guys endings for you, you know. Teams find a little bit of a home to work with throughout the compound. DNMK's in the tunnel right now. They're holding out a squad that they know is making this rotation. It's Donut Legends, who need to be really careful as the zone is about to close them in, and ahead of them is going to be DNMK that they have to fight. And I wonder if DNMK will rather prioritize their rotation or just hold them out. Does look like the rotation is king right now. Oh wait,
you know exactly where the Donut Legends are. They've scanned them. They know what's up.
They know what's up.
They're coming. This is so scary, man. You know that this Bloodhound is coming in, and you know that they are going to be able to outshoot you and out-aim you, but they're actually choosing not to make that approach. We see Cheetah Boy going the opposite direction to where more action is happening. ZA420, they still have a full squad up, haven't done that well today, but here's going to be a fight. They get some beautiful shots down range, but you see that MTG Apex not able to get the full crack there, despite having a beautiful read on that rotation. Still though, they still maintain their position here inside of this particular canister, so it's all good.
There's so many teams down there that are gonna have to fight in. Pickle's still alive, guys. Come on, what do you mean? Just surviving as long as they can. I'm gonna have to pop the syringe. Thankfully, that gold will be back to full health at least, not shields. Donut is here and they're making the rotation into the zone at least. Now they've held out for long enough to the point where they're like, yeah, guys, we can't stay any longer. And look who it is. It's DNMK. They're just waiting it out. And I mean, what do you even do? You have to find
no. Mr. Nobody, what have you done? ZA420, they take out Pickles. Give You Love has been eliminated. No more ratting. But in the meantime, Donut Legends, my goodness, Bradley just goes in onto Nut, taking them out. They're getting deeper in. Will they be able to get these kills though? They're still fighting through this one, Thendo. The PK is going to be swapped out for the flatline. They're trying to extend the range of this fight. They know they have a slight numerical advantage here. Via is able to down Panda Bubblegum as well. In the meantime, also on the map, G Unit also able to get something going for themselves, but DNMK yet again making them a name for themselves on this map here, Thendo, and they're going to be able to get the retreat without having to worry too much about their positioning.
Yeah, DNMK is in a tough spot because Ascend is holding the high ground that Cheetah was originally portaling for. And then it's a good thing that they came back just now, Ascend, right? Because they were involved in a couple of fights in and around. DNMK is still in a good spot for the very least. And you see what I said about that building and where Ascend is. It's a really good spot for them. Here's an ulti that's going to be falling down now. There's 4 squads up. And I believe that's probably Vias this one. Ooh, okay, Cheetah slides on in, gets a frag onto Daniela, and Cheetah's like, nah, I ain't having any of that gas. I can see through with this digital threat, and just gonna be beaming from this corner, gets another knock in. She unit is just feeling a world of hurt right now, but you gotta be wondering what Ascend is doing, right? Because Ascend sees all of this breaking news. Are they gonna pull it in and maybe make something happen? For now, no. They're just gonna hold their ground, and they know they've got a really decent spot in zone.
I mean, I was watching them the entire time. They were throwing in hot shots. I think some of the damage that ended up hitting onto the She unit came from this Ascend Esports squad, but unfortunately, they don't get the credit for the kill at the end of the day. DNMK were also, because of the positioning of their shield drop, were not in a position to get completely caught out by Ascend. Nice usage of some spells here by Clutchu. The question is, with this Wingman and the Havoc, is this enough firepower to get you? Because you're in a good position on this high ground, but you can't necessarily guarantee these full kills. Like, if you maybe had the G7, even a Spitfire, things could look very different. And they will be able to at least get the break there, I believe, onto Cheetah Boy, but it's not going to be enough to really threaten him. Should be able to shield back up. Should be all okay.
Yeah, MTG is also got a really good spot on DNMK, and there goes down Vias, unfortunately. And I mean, looking at positioning, you got to give this one to Ascend, right? Unless DNMK can pull something out of the bag right now. Gonna have to pop that dome. Just for a second, we'll be able to pop this bat. They're still alive. Oh my goodness, look at Cheetah! Cheetah gets the stick onto that person! And they're gonna go down to the Off-Star. Cheetah, boy, my goodness, calm down a little bit with 9 kills in the lobby, and Bradley's just accompanying him. And the DNMK squad, I mean, they're dynamic, you know what I'm saying, in this gameplay.
But Ascend Esports is also trying to get themselves out here. They've got a very good scan out, and they're trying to take this heads-up squad fight, but this might not be the best idea. Clutchu already forced to try and back away. Shield has been cracked. Will he be able to retreat in time? Indeed he does, but he's being chased down right now by Cheetah Boy. They've got the vision on this high ground. The vault shots going in. And another critic happening. But Cheetah Boy, yet again, just doing everything for the squad right now. You just cannot move around this guy. Every shot hits flush. MTG Apex trying to take advantage of the confusion to try and close in DNMK. But unfortunately, because Ascend Esports has left so soon, that's made sure that there's another angle that's not automatically covered, so they can't really run forward themselves. So DNMK somehow on the low ground, Thendo, they're the ones controlling the area.
No, DNMK has no business winning this kind of game, right? Based on the previous position that they were in, Snare. MTG down to 2, Ascend in the building, and they're giving up the top. Ah, come on, man. Give the man a chance at least, you know?
What is this?
Took him down real quick.
I just want to point out the Cheetah Boy has 10 kills. You know?
Yeah, he could be on the verge of some game-breaking, you know, records here for the EGL right now. In terms of just setting a kill record. I don't know what it is right now, because obviously there's been a couple of games and there's been... I mean, what do you even do? You're just stuck behind that box. The whole squad is just beaming you down. You're trying to get your one teammate back up, and it's DNMK on the opposite end. Not the portal play.
He's doing it, man. This is the Cheetah Boy class.
This is a smart portal if it keeps it in front of the door, right? Because ultimately they have to come through that door. They think the portal's popped, and they have to go through that. And if they walk through it, who's gonna be there waiting? It's gonna be Cheetah. No, not the 5-hit play.
Oh, what the scan! Look at this, the turnaround, they come in from behind. Cheetah Boy doesn't get the flick though. The angle is a bit too shallow for him. And unfortunately, it looks like the portal placement might have actually been a bit too 5-hit because he can't actually move past the door himself.
Yeah.
So he can't find a way in.
But this endgame's coming in now, as the zone is slowly coming in, and there's an ulti getting primed up here by Vias. They do have their dome to work with. They've just suspended this dome, the Gibby team, right? And I don't think there's going to be enough time for them. Bradley takes down one of the members over there of MTG. I don't know if there's one more left. It is just Triple M hugging the edge of this container for dear life against none other than I mean, you know, Vias was the old John Wick, but I feel like it's now Cheetah Boy, you know, and thankfully it's being handed over to one of his teammates as the DNMK now just look like a unit ready to close this one off, and no ways they're stuck in that 1%. There's no ways. The shots are just flying through. DNMK are just gonna roll on in over here as they try to swoop on out, and it's Cheetah and Bradley and Vias, the DNMK squad. They just clean it up. They have no business winning this game based on the position that Ascend had.
How on earth Ascend Esports have that high ground positioning in the area? Not only that, Thendo, at the exact same time, we saw MTG have positioning on the other side. DNMK literally caught in the middle on the low ground, zone closing in on both sides, and still they clutch it out. I think a very well-deserved 2-game victory for them. Could have almost have been 3, but my goodness, definitely making a name for themselves as the top team here today, and they have done an incredible job here. DNMK, wow. I mean, the thing that I'm most impressed about how that ended, like you say, they had no business doing it, right? But as they were doing it, you know, sometimes you watch a team do something incredible that they have no business doing, but you like, maybe they're a bit lucky, I'm not 100% sure. In this particular situation, you started to gain some faith. As you see them play, you're like, wait a second, how is it harder for the teams on the high ground who are completely pincering you? What?
I think it just comes down to Cheetah Boy, honestly. Just the way he plays reminds me a lot of how Deki of a, Gambit. And he's always looking for damage, he's always looking for positioning, etc., etc. And he's just guaranteeing space for the team, right? And it's good because if you look at Gibby and Bloodhound, right, they have somewhat the most hittable hitboxes, sounds weird to say, in the game, right? Because Bloodhound has this really big head and it's really easy to headshot, and Gibby's Gibby, right? Like, what can you do about that? So you really need that Wraith to guarantee you that space, and that's exactly what Cheetah's been doing. And I hope you have a bag next to you to throw up in, because this man, Cheetah Boy, just dropped 3,750 damage.
Damn.
The lobby isn't full, dude. Imagine the lobby was full. Oh.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Cheetah Boy yet again showing us why he's the DNM, aka Talisman, and why he's the leader of the team, leading from the front as we spoke about earlier, and getting his team the victory here. Thendo, before they even came into this game, right? Before game 3, DNMK had 51 points from game 1 and 2. ATK had 24. Right? Ascend Esports came up on the 3rd place with 18 points, but DNMK with a performance like that, obviously now, not only will they be very far ahead, that's sort of like whatever, right? We take that for granted. But Ascend Esports sort of punched far above their weight class in this game. So for the day's proceedings, I wouldn't be surprised if we come back and ATK is now dropped down to 3rd place rather than the 2nd that they were probably accustomed to.
I think ATK had their limelight right in the beginning. I think just based on how the zone was pulling, they just had a nice position to, come and close off those final kills that DNMK was involved in. And I mean, anything after that, you can just see the outclass, that DNMK has over ATK, unfortunately. And I mean, kudos to Rexu. I think Rexu was putting in an effort to try to bring the squad back in there. They got the res, but I mean, ultimately, you just contributed to, the damage that Cheetah Boy and the gang had. I believe Vias also had 1.6 damage as well. So,
jeez.
Yeah, just a crazy one.
It's kind of crazy to me that in all 3 games that we've seen today from DNMK, as much as Cheetah Boy has been racking up some preposterously high numbers, Vias not far behind, nor is Bradley, and both of them, despite playing a supporting role effectively to Cheetah Boy, have posted up higher numbers than we've seen from the entirety of other squads combined.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kind of crazy, but shout out DNMK winning map number 3 as well as game 2. Game 1 did go the way of ATK, so the leaderboard should be right now DNMK, I think Ascend Esports, and then ATK, but we'll have confirmation of that very shortly. But Thendo, that is going to wrap up this particular game, this particular matchup. In case y'all didn't know and y'all were not aware, we had Group B taking on Group C here in the EGL Apex tournament hosted by Evesports, brought to you by HP, Omen, and HP itself. Now, though, we'll be moving on to some new groups. Group C has been done. Group B is done. Group G and E will be playing up next. And that, of course, is going to be another cracker of a showing. Of course, we will not have ATK or DNMK joining us again. However, there are some other notable squads there. So you certainly do not want to miss out on that Apex action. And before we go on a quick break, remember, there is, I guarantee right now, every one of these players, if you ask Cheetah Boy, he's probably got some gigantic mouse pad. Smooth as silk. They can flick through like a mouse, and you can get yourself one of those mouse pads as well. Type in EGL Apex at EGL Apex, all small caps, no capital letters, no spaces, just all condensed at only one time. And if you do that, you can win yourself an EveTech Clutch mousepad, and we'll be announcing the winner of that giveaway later on in the stream, so you certainly do not want to miss out today. But for now, we'll be taking a short break. Thendo, before we go out, what do you want to tell the people? What do you want to tell them to look forward to in the next set of games?
Yeah, I think, looking at the next set of games, it's going to be quite interesting. I did have the teams next to me just now. But when we get back from the break, we'll definitely be looking out for exactly, are we going to have a similar lobby in terms of the fast pace and one dominating force, running through and just stomping it, or are we going to have a little bit more drawn out of a lobby where, people are playing a little bit more passively and not looking for these early fights, legend compositions? Are we going to see more, Watsons in the mix, some Caustics here and there? I mean, at the end game there, Caustic was almost clutch if it wasn't for digital threat on Bradley. But I mean, I'm excited to see what Group G versus E has, after the break.
Absolutely. That break will be coming up shortly. Don't go anywhere. Apex action will continue here with Evesports. We'll be right back. It's Snare and Thendo on the mic. EGL Apex happening. HP and Omen powering it up. And you back right after the break.
And that one's gonna confirm it. As he gets that kill on, we'll get that armor swap, and they're holding steady over here at the edge of the zone, ATK. And yeah, there've been a couple of... It's gonna be a dome battle here of note. Vias gonna have to pull out and wait from some reinforcements here, but look at Bradley coming in here with the massive... He has nothing to fear. By mistake shoots Vias in the course of it, but this Ash just can't do nothing about it, and Vinko goes down to the hands of DNMK.
Oh! Vinko behind here. Will he be able to get the knockdown? They've cracked the armor. But they get more. The Bloodhound for 2. Oh, Rescue at least manages to down Vias, but look at ATK. They've got the better clicks right now. And Thendo, this Mastiff has just been so powerful. Every single time they've gotten in these close 3
up, and now DNMK has been able to reset, and Yaze Bradley swooping in with the PK. It's the shot that he needs here to get the knock. He does indeed, as he tries to assist his teammates. Pulls out the 30-30 repeater. Just gonna be the PK shot. With 7 damage. That's a bit odd. That's not nice to see, but they go on to task. The armor is gonna come through. Volcano's also down. It's all up to Rexu and DNMK. They're getting their revenge over here against ATK. Oh, wait! To a second, but not too long, as they'll clean that one up, get Cheetah back on his feet, and that's
to get these shots down range with the R99. Finishes all the ammo though, needs to re-battery up Volcano, creating space by pushing up into the opponent. There's going to be the shield down, going inside it, there's going to be the shot. Do they get the full down? It's a crack, it's a down, and there we go. It's starting to work out here. We unfortunately...
Vinko's in a tough spot over here. Oh my goodness. Ash is gonna have to dip away, but nothing can really happen. It's all up to Radical, the Valkyrie. All lonesome in the zone. It's ticking. Oh, no. And that's just gonna be a zone death, honestly. GG's.
That's it. There's no way out of that situation.
Guys, you just come on. This is fish in the barrel at this point, man. Like, damn. Yeah. They're just gonna try and clean them up. real quick.
One left, and there's no way you're gonna get the double res on this one. DLG, DNMK, they get the final kill. 8 kills. There's already going to be a nice shield break happening. Vias taking out J-Bro. Do they want more out of this? Thomas Moore, they see this fight happening. Shield trots through it, but they're trying to run away before they get shot down by DNMK. It will not matter. Vias and the gang just run them down, and they take
Right there, it looks like. See Volcano in the kill feed. And they're outside here, making their way. Outside of
Rexu, man.
Rexu, damn. You didn't have to do him like that.
Relax. Any squad across these 3 games.
Spitfire is definitely lethal. Taking the right hand, and there is Latches. That's the plot. Oh, 9-9. It's not going to be enough, but the team's going to swoop in and be able to just clean it up for him, get that res on. Oh, it's the finish as well. Nothing you can really do about that. Vias is going to try and swoop in and we finish off the rest of this team. And I mean, DNMK just coming in. The PK shots, it's just connecting with the flat line. What do you even do to stop DNMK at this point for early access? Just rats, honestly, just go and rat. Vias working together to try and accompany each other. But ATK's Volcano's just gone down to Vias. And I mean, yeah, progress, but not for long enough. Ah, God, please. Ah, those beams. Coming from Cheetah Boy,
if you end up, my friend, in a situation where you lose Volcano or whatever, but Rexu, the man who has done everything for the ATK squad, he's the one that's bleeding out outside the ring right now, not in a great place, and soon he's just going to get easily taken out.
Hello, Vias. Nice little shot there around the corner.
They get a break and a kill. Yes, they do. They get one. Will they get more? No, they're actually going to end up bleeding out. Percy's yet again find a great position, but just don't have the play to complement it. They've already lost to Lunatic Madia. Needs to do it all alone. Will not be able to do it alone. Get taken out. And the same Esports.
Frag onto Daniela, and Cheetah's like, nah, I ain't having any of that gas. I can see through with this digital threat. And just gonna be beaming from this corner, gets another knock in. She unit is just feeling a world of hurt right now. But you gotta be wondering what Ascend is doing, right? Because Ascend sees all of this breaking news. I think gonna pull. Gonna have to pop that dome just for a second. We'll be able to pop this bat. They're still alive. Oh my goodness, look at Cheetah! Cheetah just gonna just stick onto that person! And they're gonna go down to the Opstar! Cheetah, boy, my goodness, calm down. As the NMK now just look like a unit ready to close this one off, and no ways they're stuck in that one percent. There's no ways. The shutters are flying through. DNMK are just gonna roll on in over here as they try to swoop on out, and it's Cheetah and Bradley and Vias, the DNMK squad. They just clean it up.
Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and the Dota 2 world. I'm just kidding. We're in Apex, baby. Y'all thought I was in Dota only, but here we are pulling through for one of the more entertaining games, one of the cooler games. And yet again, we are partnered with Evesports. They are out here giving us the EGL Apex tournament, powered by HP and HP Omen, who are making this all possible. Myself, Snare, with ThendoPlays. We already just covered Groups B and C, who are batting it out for the top spot, get as many points on the board, and DNMK walked away with the lion's haul of those points. But now we are progressing into some more action now for the night. We're going to have Group G taking on Group E, and yet again, more points are on the line, more pride is on the line, and the closer and closer we get to those all-important playoffs. Thendo, my friend, my man, there's probably not going to be a team that's going to rise to the heights of what we just saw with DNMK, or will they be? Tell me, who are you expecting to pop off in this particular lobby that we've got going for ourselves?
Looking at the lobby that is coming up right now, we've got the likes of Omnius Gaming, and I mean, in terms of amongst the teams, which is at least the most known team there, I'd say it's Omnius Gaming. We've got the Nibble meme team as well, who, we'll see what they'll be able to do up in the lobby. And I mean, a lot of teams that I've never really heard of, and it'll be the first time that I'm seeing. We have another Ascend Esports, and we did confirm with the admins that Cold and the boys ain't, popping in again for another round. This is a different team, so we'll see if they can live up to the hype that they gave us towards the end of that last game.
Absolutely. Ascend Esports, if you guys did not end up watching that first overall round of group stage play that we saw today, we did see Ascend Esports somewhat rise through the ranks faster than expected and post up some really good results there, pretty much edging out ATK for the second slot behind DNMK for the points haul of the evening. But going into this one, like you mentioned, not as many well-regarded names, which should mean as well that it should be a closer contest. Less teams are going to be as far ahead of everybody else. There's going to be a lot more room within the middle pack, especially for the order to be shuffled around. And that generally tends to lead to more exciting Apex. And not only that, Thendo, but we also have, it seems, a much more full lobby and no duo team. There might be one, but we'll see as we get closer to starting. What does that mean when we're going to have a lobby this full, this packed, and especially when we have it under conditions where we don't have a clear pole position team?
And it's going to be interesting, right? Because now there's more traffic to walk into. There's a few more kills that we weren't able to really see. We might see a little bit more contesting, here and there where, teams will be running into each other. And I mean, yeah, again, I'm looking really at, Nibble meme team, Aquatic, Emma Dilemma, and Ked. I mean, that's a good squad right there. They could really put up some good numbers coming into this one. Like I said, lots of these players I've never really seen before, so it'll be interesting to see. So this right here, I don't want to curse them in any way and form, but this is looking like an Omnius Gaming lobby, to be honest with you. I mean, Astros, G's, and Troy. I mean, those guys have been grinding day in, day out in the Apex Legends scene here in South Africa, right? If there's a time to prove that they are a contender to make it towards, that final stage of this tournament, this is now. It's now when you're on stream, when everyone's watching.
Exactly. And speaking of that final stage of the tournament, the reason why everybody wants to get themselves into that spot is because this is not just Apex for fun, right? We don't do things for fun out here. If we're running an esports tournament, an EGL Apex tournament, you know for a fact we're giving away some proper prize money. 70,000 Rand in prizes to be given away. The top team will take home 20K just like that. But the prize money runs all the way from 1st to 8th place. So provided that you can demonstrate your medal throughout this earlier portion of the tournament, you're almost guaranteed to be into some money. And speaking of teams that could be in money, I'm glad the Nibble meme team, I see Aquatic, I see Emma, I see XKit. You know who I don't see? I'm glad I see Crim observing and not part of this. That would just be hacks. It'd be cheating if he was involved here. For those of you who don't know, it's not allowed to mention the name Crim around me ever. I still have nightmares to this day, fam. It's very distracting.
A little arenas tournament happened a while back where myself, Snare, and Androva just got like you said, we don't mention it. Anyways, looking forward to this game though. I wonder which team's going to take Fragment, right? Because in that last group, we saw ATK taking up Fragment, and really controlling the center of the map while they can before DNMK got up on them. I wonder which team is going to have, the guts to land on that job, right? Because like I said, you have to be a really strong, confident team to be landing on Fragment. We'll see if any teams land, you know, Lava Fisher and Countdown. Those are always highly contested areas as well, just because of how, you know, optimal the rotations are throughout the map. And I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting to see all these drop spots.
Yeah, the drop spots are going to be quite entertaining to see happen, especially when we have a lobby this packed, because it's unlikely, like in the last series of games, we're going to have completely uncontested drop points. But if you're talking about drops, Thendo, not only do we have drops in Apex from the dropship itself, we have drops here from the Evesports team. We're giving away a clutch mousepad from EveTech. And we know that peripherals, the things that make the peripherals smoother, make your flick smoother, all of these things do have an impact in your performance in the game. So if you want to get yourself an Evesports clutch mousepad, all you have to do is type in the words EGL Apex. No spaces, no caps, no additional numbers, and you only get to type it in once. Type that in, enter yourself into the draw, and tonight you will be the one, potentially, that gets announced as getting themselves a free mousepad under their hands. But for now, Thendo, while everybody's trying to get free stuff, we're about to get some Apex action. We're getting into the game. I want to hear from you.
It's going to be interesting, I think, right now. Just to cut you off there, because, like, you know, before we ended off on the break, we saw a lot of, what is this, the Gibbies in play. Obviously, we had the Bloodhound scans coming through. Wraith, Valkyrie were really big picks there as well. Will it be similar in this lobby? It'll be interesting to see. Will we see the crazy picks, the Caustics and the Watsons, I wonder?
Caustics, the Watsons, the Ashes, you know, a lot of strange stuff emerged in the previous games, but now we are going to be seeing some of these picks starting. And already, Thendo, I want you to look at our first team, Apex Ikea. Explain, boss. Explain yourself. Tell me.
You know, they're going with the Loba pick over here, and it's quite interesting, right? Because Loba isn't really viewed as a competitive legend, right? But given the right circumstances, you know, the ulti is good. You can get the loot without having to extend yourselves out of a building, for example. You can just hold things down. But I think it's an odd one. I don't know if it's going to work in their favor, to their advantage, but hey, let's see what goes down.
Let's see what goes down indeed, as we are getting ourselves into the action. We are looking at it's an okay angle here for the ship. And we'll be seeing which team is going to be wanting to get themselves towards those fragments as early as possible. Not that many drops early on for Tree. Have a couple of squads heading towards the thermal station right now. You know, something interesting, right? Obviously, we have a different lobby now. We do not have the DNMK squad, but they're one of the few teams that do what we saw them do every single game in that particular series, where Bradley, Vias go one side, Cheetah Boy goes on another, then they link up later. We don't see that happening all that much with the other teams, and especially in this particular lobby, we're not seeing that happen at all here, Thendo.
It's not really looking like they'll be confident enough to do that split drop. You know, it is really risky, it is really dangerous if you're not, you know, practiced and regimented, and just how that can, you know, go. We will see the Nibble meme team here landing in Lava Siphon. I don't think we had a team land in Lava Siphon in that last lobby. So this is quite nice to see. We're utilizing the full width of the map to get as much loot as they can. Oh, we got some fights going down already.
Nice. Okay. That's very early done, but you know, sometimes you get those fisticuffs happening early on. Nice to see at times. And I didn't put enough respect on some of these teams, so we see a lot of action happening already. Will these fisticuffs come in clutch here? Turns out that's not going to be the case. Go Psycho, able to shoot down the Pog Daddy. So we are already having early on the Sparrow squad completely eliminated here, Thendo. And this is not a great way to start proceedings, especially when you know that you're the first out of the 16 squads here to get eliminated. It feels painful on the soul.
Yeah, I'm looking at the position where OG is right now, and something that I've always noted with OG's rotations is that they always find themselves in awkward spots, right? Where they're in between a lot of squads, and similarly, that's what's happening right now, and it's really been the downfall against them, at least in higher stacked lobbies, right? You know, we still have a pretty open lobby in terms of just not really knowing what to expect out of these teams thus far. 15 squads, and
I just realized, Thendo, that I didn't put enough respect. You know, we're talking about teams that might not be confident doing the split. Looks like the SLX squad did that entirely, and they did it with similar player composition. Like we have X-Kits playing the Wraith Legend, you know, got a Gibby, got a Valk. You know, they do not have themselves access to that Bloodhound, but similar stuff that we've seen from the side of DNMK, and they utilize it to good effect, getting themselves a lot of loot early on. And we don't know at present exactly how the teams fully want to stack up in terms of the rotations. I do see, though, here on the top part towards Skyhook that we might have 3 or 4 squads occupying the same area. So we might have some action emerging from this side of the map. Although, if the action does start out from that side, it's probably going to be kicked off by the side of Apex AQ, because they have the high ground advantage. They have complete vision over this area.
And I just caught a glimpse of where this one's going to be pulling. It's going to be an awkward zone for a lot of these squads. Lots of open ground. It's towards that little tiny building that's just on the outskirts. So there you go. Shout out the observer. Showing the zone right there. It's going to be pulling out in the open quite a little bit. Yes, there'll be a few buildings in here and there, especially in the Skyhook side, but odds are it wouldn't be pulling over that mountain. So teams will find themselves out in the open. So a lot of these south side teams are going to have to make a really long rotation in. And this is Ascend Esports, but not the one that we were seeing just now. This is a different one coming out of the thermal station. Only a duo, unfortunately. Doesn't seem like the third is here. But hey, we've seen some duos do some crazy things today as well. So
look over Climatizer. Climatizer, we've got some action happening there. Some shots being fired out by the Ghosted Herd. They've spotted some prey. They've gotten an early break here. Oh, nicely done. Ghost Psycho gets the down onto Jonty with the R3. Will he be able to get more out of this though? The team very cautious about this approach though. So looks like they're gonna let discretion be the better part of valor. Happy with getting the initial crack, but don't want to force the issue at present, especially not through all these missiles. But they're going back in here, Thendo, trying to get these shots down range. Got already OG, though, showing up to this fight to take a couple down in the process. They're taking advantage of all this chaos. Will they be able to get kills on the map is the question. But I think the Apex squad will realize that OG have taken the fight. They need to run away, but OG is giving pace, Thendo. They want to try and get more kills on the board.
Ooh, G's popping through some wingman shots there. Get a nice little headshot, and they're looking to aggress onto this fight. And they're just making sure that things are clear. They've already got some 2 kills on the board, I believe. The team of OG. They caught a team in transit at the tunnel, it looks like. And it goes to the herd. Just backing off a little bit, you know. They don't want to get too involved. It's still really early game right now for anything to really break loose for them. Jeeves, though. Jeeves doesn't really care about this. Jeeves is looking for an angle. He's waiting.
Jeeves came for war today. OG certainly would not have been watching the previous games and know that they have to post up some incredible numbers to try and roll with the big boys as they stand from DNMK right now, who are really the team to beat. But right now, OG in this particular lobby looking quite good. 2 kills to their name. Some pot shots being flown out right there by Jeeves, but unfortunately not able to get them perfect. We'll look for them now. What? Takes out Ghost Psycho. Beautiful shot. Ghosted Herd. Gonna be feeling a little bit hard done by that one. And now they're gonna really try and get this res. They will not be able to find it because Jeeves and them, they're already up there. Will they get these kills here, Thendo? They're looking for it. Oh, look at this, turning out to the EVA, even inside the shield. There is no chance for Valkyrie. That's gonna be Ghosted Herd getting taken out one by one, but they're just shooting everybody, Thendo. They don't care who you are. You just show up in front of them, you will end up dying.
Oh, through the tunnel. That's unfortunate. And like I said, this was looking like an OG lobby, right? You know, they've got the mechanical skill to do that similar playstyle that we saw ATK and DNMK do in their first group. Just running around, picking some fights. And teams are starting to make their rotation in. MSMK2. Ooh, some nice shots over there. To Strikes FPS. Strikes goes down and finished. Fenta on the Horizon. First Horizon pick of the night, I think. You know, Horizon really great for the verticality of that ability, right? If you need some quick high ground, Horizon's your gal. Oh, the Rampage Supremacy is out here, taking them down.
Nice.
And that's gonna be a knock for mentality, actually. The lifeline, the back. And it's like, you mentioned lifeline, and there's a lifeline earlier today.
I was very, like, generally the lack of lifelines. We didn't see any, I don't think, in the opening fixture of the day, but now we are seeing it coming up. Is there more than one, or is it the only one? So that's the one lifeline of the day, and, you know, we're still going to see some impact coming out of it. Still quite a bit of game time to go here. They have been sewn out here on the side of MSM K3, so we'll probably need to vacate this area, get themselves to a safer positioning, as we now turn our gaze over to a little bit of a different side of the map here as Aura Gaming. You know, they're doing their thing. They've got quite some nice things coming out for them here, but oh, back to the side of MSM K3. They end up fighting here, and they get a quick drop down, and Bosfark, unfortunately, get fully eliminated by the MSM K3 side.
Yeah, just unfortunate there. Wait, MK3. Hey, man, guys, what's going on, man? Like,
Yeah, I know. I see.
you know, just reminds me of a nice little organization that used to have every color of the rainbow as a squadron in Apex Legend. It used to be wild, man. I believe it was, the name will come back to me. For now, I'm shooting over here at the epicenter with Radix 2. Getting this beacon scan really good to see where the next zone will be pulling in. Exactly what kind of rotation they need to make. Bow check in the hands over here of Rapid Dario.
Look at SLX, man. They just got a quick elimination there. It's Shrizzle gets shot out. The Ascent Esports, the secondary squad, is in danger right here of complete elimination. SLX, they know they have the positioning. Vision purely done by lags on both portals here. Gonna be quite a hard job to try and bring this one back for Shocker. Does seem like Shocker is trying to make the escape though. Gonna completely abandon the ally. Say, Saz fam, I can't do anything for you. I need to get out of here. And we've seen a lot of ratting today, so that might be the only available strategy left for them.
Right, this is now MSMK2. Taking some shots here. Thermal station. In zone. Solely zone 2, so it's not too big of a threat right now. Some names are trying to get lobbed over here. Oh, one goes down and another is close to it as well. The Loba just decided to be like, hey guys, I ain't gonna be involved with you guys. You guys are doing something that I'm not about. And this is where team synergy comes in, Snare, where it's like, why is the Loba down here not helping Vandingo or Dango? The team needs you up there, man. And you're just down here now having to pull out the rat plays. And it's SLX continuing a teardown over here, collecting some more kills.
Not only managed to get an Elam, but
the finisher as well.
Oh, you love to see it, man. We've got some highlight action going on right now. SLX making things happen, but Formula 1 showing up to try and punish them for this. They know where they're at. They throw out a beautiful sand there. Gonna be the heads-up 3v3 action. Nice shots coming in from Lagza, but realizes that he needs to try and retreat. Zerix quite far forward. So this is going to be a very difficult position to try and access for there. But Formula 1, they don't want to force the issue either. Rather get these shots out downrange. Lucid Dreamer with the Rampage doing what he can, but no shield crack just yet. Will instead decide to back off a little bit instead. But they also know that there's enemies coming from the other direction here, Thendo. So they need to be very careful with where they go from here.
Very careful indeed. 30 seconds to the zone. They also need to start prioritizing that. Sends through the scan, gets the information, and yeah, that's out in the open. That is not any fun right there. The entire team just gonna beam me down, Shocker. It's shocking. Find yourself in that position.
Shame. Shocker ran for so long. Remember how long ago Shocker's partner in AH Shrizzle got taken out? Try to survive for as long as possible, but like you mentioned, get caught in the open. And that's going to be that for Ascent Esports. We have yet another squad eliminated. 11 left in the lobby here, Thendo. Only gets harder from here on out. And still, although Omnius Gaming has indeed shown themselves to be one of the better squads here, still could be anyone's game. A lot can still happen. There's still quite a lot of zones to go before the finisher. Not anybody's fully caught out in bad positions. Although we do see Fandango here from MSMK in a very bad place. But what can we do? But wow.
Tough spot. Tough spot to find themselves in. As Aurora is taking these shots down into the epicenter. And after getting a glimpse of the zone, it will be ending next to that little broken down train station. And those zones are always so difficult because there's so much open ground. And everyone's just fighting for that main building right now. And there's one team sitting in that main building right now. And I believe it's the team of MSMK3. And some shots are being popped off of here by Dark Legacy. Just clean up here. Ren retrograde in the gang. Securing some kills, some very much needed points. And yeah, teams are going to start traversing in, especially if they've got that beacon scan to see exactly where the zone will be pulling in. Dynasty Gaming need to make their way towards that spot.
Making their way into that area right now. We just see Indulger getting taken down by Z-Skits. Very nice shot there from SLX. So the thing that they need to be doing right now from this Dynasty Gaming squad, keep as much of this positioning as possible. Nice shots with the wingman from a long range. Fortunately, he gets tagged himself, so Jade Steven will decide to just shield up for now. Sees a lot of bullets flying in all directions. Will he be able to help out his team? Detection will come in, scan at the Bloodhound. They see where the enemy squad is, though. How will they be able to deal with this? The question is also going to be whether or not they can leave this area safely. It's a nice place to be for now, but they also know that this is a telegraph place to be, so eventually more enemies will come to the area.
Those wingmen shot some G's, dude. I swear.
That's nice, dude.
It's scary to go up against that. OG find themselves in an interesting position, right? Because they started at the top of where the zone is, and now they're at the bottom. So they've been moving up and down quite a little bit as we tune into the Nibble meme team here, and Kotick, Ket, and Emma Dilemma. And there's a team on top of that roof, as far as I remember. And then I believe it's MSMK3, and there's the scan to get the information from Emma. They're trying to pop some shots. Maybe there's a call now to pull out from that. Yes, it is. The call to pull back, and they're getting pinched in. Oh, what a Kraber shot there to give them the advantage now as they try to swap on in, and the PK shots now are just going to connect, and they're just going to be able to capitalize off all this damage, but they're getting pinced in. Ket is down. They're in a tough spot here. The rest is trying to be popped in by Emma. Is it at the right time, though? It seems for now it is, and not really.
No.
As SMMK3 pull on in to clean that one up, and it was looking good for the Nibble meme team, but ish.
Man, this was looking good for a moment, but unfortunately, the one lifeline we've seen today just popping off, pulling through there on the side of MSMK3, and they managed to get the fall down there. The Nibble meme team is out, will not rise to the same heights as the regular Nibble team. Omnius Gaming, with 9 squads left, still does feel like they have the advantage. They've been a bit quiet for the last few minutes here, Thendo, but you know, no need to make noise. It's only important to try and win at the end of the day. And now they're finally trying to just try to keep control over the entire area. SLX as well also have been doing quite well. It does feel like a highly contested lobby here, as we see some shots coming in from Skids. Won't be able to get the full armor crack or a down there, so we'll just retreat. Yeah. Still has a portal available to play with if necessary in that situation.
Yeah, as much as, you know, I was looking at OG to maybe solidify this lobby, SLX is also looking quite good. You know, oh my goodness! Oh no! What do you even do? It's like a horror movie the way they swooped out that corner as Astros take them down. The nade will be blocked by the dome. GZ to retreat back in and pop this battery, and that's just unfortunate for Aurora Gaming.
That's very sad. You know, yesterday I went to watch the Batman movie, and at some point, to get to the theater, we had to walk past an alley, which was really creepy because it had 3 prams in it for whatever reason. But 3 legends, way scarier. So I would take that any day of the week. Unfortunately, that's going to be that. Now Dynasty in this high ground position. A lot of vision being gained. But nice. That was a nice nade, dude. That was so nice, actually.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And Piss bot here, last one up on Aurora Gaming. A little bit tough to be playing Valkyrie. At least that redeploy might be an option to get closer into the zone. And OG's backed themselves against the wall, right? Because now they've got the team gatekeeping them. And if you look at where the zone's gonna pull next, it's gonna be on those buildings where we lost saw MSMK3 holding down. And so they'll have to make this portal play, which is really good to get into this building and get a better position to work off with. We hear the redeploy being popped close to them as well, so teams are now sensing out that danger is looming because the zone will be closing in soon. But they want to take this fight, it looks like. They do kind of need to clear this team, right? And the shots are coming through from G's, but the angle is not favoring him as the headshot glitch there for the team up top will be a lot better. Dynasty just holding things down.
Making sure that there's not going to be any progression towards them, holding it down like you said. And they're looking for the redeploy right now. All right, there we go. We are out, but YTKNI might have put his team in danger. Everybody knows where they're at. The shots are flying in, but fortunately, it doesn't seem like most of them have been landing. So we should be able to see the team getting completely out. The redeploy is going to be a good one here. And although there is somebody in the direction that they're going, so they can't really access that fully. This could end up being disastrous for Dynasty Gaming. They need to get this positioning sorted, and they need to do it fast, because teams definitely saw where they were heading, and we already see on the map the teams closing in.
Oh, treacherous grounds to cross over here for Jade, Steven.
Ah, he's gone. He's dead.
Yeah, I mean, OG is just pulling up in. GG's are gonna take him out. Oh, OG now have to be careful. Astro's taking up a lot of damage as they're trying to make this rotation in. And it's kind of odd that, you know, they're still making such an easy rotation into the zone, which is currently closing in. And it's Apex. I don't know how to say that, but there they are. As they're just holding the edge of the zone. They're in a good spot at least. They are.
Jeeves is down.
Roba. Oh, Jeeves is down.
He's got taken out. They caught them out on SLX. SLX was ready. You were talking about how the rotation is a bit too easy, and SLX proved that to be right by going downtown. And at the same time, they get closed in by Apex Q. This is a bad position to be in. More shots coming in. Omnius closed in. They've got 2 out of 3 left right now. Not sure they'll be able to find the res. He's looking for it here. Will he be able to get it? Astros, no! It can't happen. Omnius Gaming get taken out at the very end. Unloaded Fab makes it happen for his squad, and now that is going to be a situation where the favorites are out. APXQ, SLX, MSMK3, and Dynasty still left in this, competing for that top slot, Thendo.
And you have to be looking at the team on top of the building to win this one out, right? They have so much control of the zone. They just need to make sure that no one gets knocked down in this kind of position, because there's no opportunity to really get these reses on. Unless, you know, it's one of the other teammates that isn't the lifeline, right? Because that type res can come really in clutch, and the bow check shots will be ringing through the sky there, but not really connecting. And they just want to hold out this team.
Ooh, look at this out landing. There's so much damage that came in. We get the scan out now. Boshek already gotten a kill at the moment in this lobby for Unloaded. Will he be able to get another for himself? Although now, look where they are. There's actually vision on both sides. He recognizes that they've been scouted out. They need to make a plan here. Very awful place to be. How will they fight this one out? Lots of damage coming in from MSMK3, who have this high ground advantage at present. And they're trying to maintain it, but we've seen already today, Thendo, that having this high ground doesn't guarantee you'll win things out when the lobby's at its dying moment. Although these shots, it might be good enough, although no crack coming in from the R3. Not going to be good enough just yet. MSMK3 really want to keep this place, but to keep it, they need to get some kills and they need to get them fast.
Yeah. The kills do need to come in fast. Someone's closing in, and if you're stuck back there, it's just a GG. To be honest with you, for they're looking like it beamed out. They're not worrying about what's going on behind the SMMK3, which I'm not really worried about, right? They do get the knock onto Unloaded Fab, and they will be taken out of the game completely. And now Apex Q is stuck. And we've got Dynasty up with just the solo. The Q is going to have to be popped over here to try reposition and find themselves inside the container. And yeah, just don't take the shots. Just leave. Just
No, let this one go. But you also know they know where you're at, right? This is one of those complicated things where it's like, if I shoot and I don't get the immediate crack into kill, then I'm screwed. But they also know exactly where I'm at. And SLX, get the pings out. They're already moving in for this pincer maneuver, covering all angles around the crate. At the same time, they also want to make sure that they can cover MSMK3 on the high ground. And these shots that are coming in from Skits, man, the whole game, this person has just been cracked on the long range.
This is just a tragic angle to be stuck in as a rat, right? Because they know that they have to keep watching you. And on the other side, these fights are still breaking loose over here. And SLX are just holding things down, as the Apex is just trying to hold the bottom of the building. And we still have the team of MSMK3 at the top. Oh, you gotta be careful there, mentality. You might get beamed, and that would be really tragic. Someone's closing in now, Snare, so things about to... no. What am I seeing here? What is this? This is a really awkward redeploy time, because I don't know where they're gonna be opting to land right now.
Oh my gosh, they got so lucky. Skits ran out of ammo, was actually shooting them down, had the perfect beat on them. But where on earth are they gonna land? The zone is in such an awkward place. Are they just going to try to head onto the top of the mountain? No, this is not gonna work out, my friend. They've got the perfect vision. SLX, Skits, almost actually got the full crack there, but they didn't. Now the rest of the squad, though, has the entire backs through the edge of the wall. But the Apex Q side, they're just chilling inside. No worries in the world. Leaving this SLX squad to fight at the very end against MSMK3. And they'll try to pick off whoever wins this entire engagement, because there's no way either team can avoid this upcoming fight.
And it's the final zone. It's closing on in, and fights really need to break loose. And the shots are coming through from mentality from the high ground to deal a little bit of damage, but it's not going to be enough. And they're all coming up here now to try and do as much damage from the height as they can. And they stole the team from the building that they have to worry about. And they'll be coming out soon to try and get this fight. And that Loba just gets away in time. And mentality is going to go down to the third mite, unfortunately. And everything's just chaos in the zone right now. As Apex is trying to stay alive. No, they go down. It's SMMK3 versus now SLX, just one up. It's the Valkyrie trying to fly up with the Vol dealing the damage. Is it enough? It definitely won't be, because there's just too many faces to go up against over here, but still alive somehow. What is this cat and mouse game?
Gosh. Oh, cat and mouse indeed. But unfortunately, Thendo, as we all know, the cat eventually wins. The 3v1 is clutch for SLX. They take the victory. They take the dub. And man, I personally did not expect them to come out throwing this much heat at the wall. But my goodness, they look strong from the onset, Thendo. You were expecting that, oh, they're allowed to play with a bit more aggression with more players in the lobby. And SLX, it might have taken them a little bit of time, but eventually they took full advantage of that. And they get themselves the first game, surprising even the team that we thought was going to win in Omnius Gaming.
Yeah, and mid-game, I mentioned how Omnius always finds themselves in these awkward rotations, in these awkward spots that ultimately catches them out. And that's a good example of exactly what I meant, right? You know, they were actually on the side of the zone where they would have had an advantage if they had stayed, but they were, you know, too busy walking around looking for kills. And I mean, it happens, right? You know, you sense that like, hey, we can look for a little bit more action, a little bit more engagements just because of how the lobby is situated. And ultimately, sometimes you find yourself in a bad spot, but the team to look out for now is SLX. I mean, hello, what is going down? And Snare, remember when I said this is the kind of lobby where we're just watching to see who are the people that can pop up, because we don't really know some of these players. And here we go, SLX pulling through.
I love that not only did SLX pull through with this victory, right, but they weren't the only squad that showed themselves to be able to punch, I wouldn't even say above their weight class. Certainly they belong on this weight class. We also saw MSMK3, very confusing name. They did really well as well for quite a long time. Even more confusing name, Apex Q. They did really well as well, right? So now we start to get into the situation where we're going into this. We know for a fact that they aren't, I mean, they won on the side of SLX, right? But it wasn't necessarily a super easy thing, right? They still had to fight and claw their way into a winning position towards the end. So going into the second game, the second lobby, I'm very excited to see how it's all going to pan out, right? Because we do not have clear pole position winners. We have a team now that will have a target on their back because of how well they did. But the question is, can they do that well again when they have that target on their backs, right? Everyone was looking out for Omnius. Everyone is looking out, well, maybe not as much for like the Nibble meme team or for Aura Gaming, but those are some known names. Now SLX clearly will be known and they'll be clearly gone after. The question is, can they actually maintain the level of dominance they showed here in game one?
Wondering if they can maintain that. We saw Nibble meme team, you know, get caught out in an awkward spot right after they had the Kraber, and things were looking so good as we tuned into them, but caught in like in a tough spot, just trying to rotate through that tunnel, and they ultimately get pinched. And yeah, I think for me now, I've got I think 4 teams to look out for, at least coming into this one. Our match winners, obviously, SLX, looking out for them. MSMK3, we'll be checking them out. OG as the norm, right? And, you know, I want to also check out what the team, you know, with Unloaded Fab, the team of Apex, can do, because they made it all the way to the end, right? So clearly they have some good decision making on their hold up as long as they can. Throw a sneaky one there. Nibble meme team, I'm still backing them, man. I just feel like they caught themselves in a rough spot there.
Yeah, we'll see whether or not they're actually able to do a little bit better on the Nibble meme team to try and contend with these other squads. But I love the fact that we have so many squads in contention, and that's only game one. We actually don't know whether or not the same story we saw will be replicated throughout games 2 and 3. But of course, the games themselves have to be played out before we know that. And while we're waiting for those games to get started, I want to remind everybody here in the chat that you can find yourself also getting something out of the action, not just entertainment, but some free swag to boot on top of that. We are giving away some EveTech clutch mouse pads, called clutch because they give you that clutch at the very last moment. How do you think some of those flicks happen in this game? Guarantee somebody's using some esports mouse pads. And if you want to get yourself a piece of that action, all you have to do is type in EGL Apex in the chat. That's EGL Apex, all small caps, no spaces, no numbers, and no more than 1 entry per person. More than 1 entry, that's a DQ, heads up. However, if you enter only once, you enter yourself into the draw, and we'll be announcing the winner of that giveaway at the end of game number 2. So you definitely want to stick around for that. But of course, the thing you're really sticking around for is not just a free mouse pad, but it's some incredible Apex action. And of course, Thendo, we know that this SLX squad won, right? We have already seen, not just today, but yesterday as well, that winning game 1 is not an ultimate guarantor that you wind up having a good performance for the rest of the day, right? You could end up just feeding away immediately afterwards. from what you saw, just from it's not a large data set to be certain, but from what you saw, do you think that SLX seems like the kind of squad that has their correct head on their shoulders? Do they have that regimenting in their team that you were talking about earlier that helps with gaining that consistency?
Yeah, it seems like, there's a clear voice in the team on exactly what to do, right? Because they were just holding that backside of the zone. And, if you've played enough Apex Legends, yes, that building is good to hold for, an extended period of time, right? But if it ends up pulling outside, just like it did there, the team that's against the fence will always have the advantage. And instead of pushing up and maybe taking those fights, because you could hear that, MSMK3 were basically just popping off shots after shots, and they were engaged in these fights. We had Apex RQ at the bottom as well, and it was just a mess, towards the end. But SLX held composure, and they were just waiting for them to rotate into their crosshairs, essentially. And I mean, yeah, they were able to just clean that one right up at the end. And I mean, the team with Ghost Psycho as well, I can't remember what their name is. I'd be interested to see, if they'll be able to improve throughout the night. I think we saw them start off quite well, and then, how it goes. A couple of things go wrong here and there throughout the lobby. But yeah, OG, I think, we want to see them come through, right? I think if there's a favorite in the lobby to take some games tonight, it's going to be them. It'll be disappointing if they can't take a game tonight, but still two to play for.
Two to play for. And something we spoke about earlier today about when you're this lower team, we're talking about in the previous lobby, of course, but there were a lot of notable names that you have to be very concerned about. If you're Omnius Gaming, right, it's one thing to be in the lobby where other teams are worried about you. But if you're not that worried about other teams and then you lose, we've seen a lot of teams end up having that mentality crumble afterwards and not find themselves feeling the same degree of competence that they should be able to show when they are firing on all cylinders. And Omnius Gaming, although we did definitely see them start off well, you mentioned some of the weaknesses in this team. Those weaknesses came into the game itself, and they ended up dying off of a somewhat iffy rotation. How bad is this for them as the favorites, right? In the mental game, how bad is their mentality right now? Do you think they can be able to reset? Or is it now a situation of, guys, we can't even beat them? What's going on?
Yeah, you always gotta reset, I think, to be honest with you, regardless of how things break down. You always have to take the next game as if it's a new one altogether. That should just be the first game for you, essentially, mindset-wise, right? Like, this is our first game, we need to make sure we pop off to start off the night, just playing on that. And or, you have the different outlook where it's like, you have the do or die mentality where every game matters as if it's the final game that you play, right? And that also works out for teams. So it's just really about understanding what your team enjoys in terms of just like that kind of, mentality shift of what really needs to be the objective coming into this one. And I mean, after that first game, you've got a good read at least of how the lobby will be moving. It's not as quick as what we saw in the previous lobby. Things are a little bit more slower. We'll find a little bit more teams in the final zone, so you need to maybe prioritize rotations a little bit more, right? Because you might not find a spot in. Valkyrie is looking like a pick that needs to be on every team right now, because you need that escapability and just that ability to reposition, right, in a tough spot, because sometimes you have to make the bailout move, and you don't have that bailout option.
Yep. I mean, even speaking about it, right, we spoke about this in the first lobby about whether or not, or the earlier games today, can you make Lifeline and Valkyrie work on your squad? And MSMK3, although they did play this Lifeline for mentality, even they were like, you can't play without the Valkyrie right now. Does seem to be the premier pick. Not every team is using Wraith, not every team is using Bloodhound. But everyone's like, yo, the ability to just quickly move elsewhere on the map, especially when you are in a awkward and iffy position, it's just invaluable, honestly. So certainly going to be the legend that we see being picked up, as now Thendo, we are loading into the game. World's Edge once more for game 2. Don't think we're going to have that much versatility or change-ups in a legend composition, unless it's from some of the teams that placed a bit lower down, right? Thinking maybe we try to swap this one out, maybe we try and make things interesting. We didn't see, outside of outside of the Lifeline, we didn't see that many weird legends in the game number 1. Is that going to be something that changes potentially, especially for the teams that didn't do so well going into game 2?
Well, you say that, right? But we had some Lobas and we had that Lifeline right at the end on MSMK3.
which really didn't help ultimately, right? You know, you see, the problem with a character like Lifeline, right, is that, you know, his skill set is so dependent on the team being disadvantaged that you don't want your team to be playing to be disadvantaged, right? And that's why you hardly seldom see Lifelines in competitive Apex, because we're not playing for someone to get knocked and then we're playing off this res, right? We're playing for all of us to stay up the whole time. So I'd be interested to see if maybe they'll swap into something a little bit more versatile in terms of utility for the team. For now, looking at the picks as we are entering over here, yeah, you know, it looks normal. Ah, Mirage.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So it looks like the things that are normal are not going to be happening. So for the second time around, like you mentioned, we're still going to be getting that low bar. But Mirage coming out, I did really not see this coming. Why do you think this is going to be the option for them?
Is your champion.
Personal preference, you know, as well sometimes with some of these players. You know, some people just only play that one character and then it's like, yeah, I'm just not comfortable playing anybody else. That might be the option. This drop path, quite interesting, right? It's straight down, somewhat the middle, so everyone should have an optimal spot to go to whatever location they want. We have a team dropping straight down for the overlook there, the only team at least over there with retrograde. And yeah, we'll see exactly how the zone pulls as well, which will be quite interesting again. With that last zone ending at that train station, there wasn't much ground and well, buildings for people to really camp in and work off.
Yeah, absolutely not. But now, of course, as this game's going to be getting going, the drops are coming down. And this is when Apex really starts to kick off. Whether or not we'll be seeing some interesting, or rather, I want some more boxing matches, man. I always like to see it. I'm glad that we got a couple of kills in the last game from boxing, but doesn't look like that's going to be happening this time around. Everybody's just picking their own side of the map. Just chilling. Skyhook does have multiple teams in the area, but everybody just prioritizing getting this early loot going. Although we do see that around the fragments and epicenter, if the zone starts to drag at least towards the eastern or like this middle eastern part of the map, this is going to be some crazy action because there's already so many squads stacked up on the side.
Yeah, so many teams stacked up on that side. I don't know what the reasoning is to have so many squads up there. You know, there's still a lot of spots on the map that are available. I'm looking at staging, you know, the dome is still available for teams. Charles hasn't been landed on as well, and Geyser. So there's a lot of spots for these teams that are sitting at the north side of the map to have gone to. Fragment contested by 2 teams, yeah. I wonder what's gonna happen there as the game progresses. I send the Esports, just holding things down here on the west side of things, and on the east side of things, I believe it should be the team of Dynasty Gaming.
Yeah, they're both out here, but I think from what we saw from both of these squads last time around, that they didn't have that much of an appetite for early combat. So even if they do see each other, they'll be like, oh, you know, sometimes you can just say hello, we'll fight later, you know, momentary truce. Let's find Omnius Gaming, let's find Apex Q, let's find the side of MSMK3, kill them first, then we'll come back and kill each other. And of course, we can't ignore the map winners last time around, SLX, who they made the decision to go all the way here on the other side of the map. They do not want any truck with anybody. They just want to be chilling around this Harvester landslide area, you know, doing what they need to do to get as much loot as possible right now, and they'll worry about fighting everybody later.
Okay.
It's a good play, to be honest with you. You know, if you get a lot of advice, you know, for your ranked games, a lot of people will tell you that dropping in a spot that might be contested straight after you come off a win can be a real dampener for the team, right? You want to just start it back up and slow and build it up once again, just wind into things. They got to be careful because in Lava Siphon, we did see the team of Nibble meme team holding things down there. So they might just run in as they try to make that rotation into that fragment side. And training into tree. Things are peaceful here, you know. It's nothing too much is happening. They just gotta be wary over here because Apex Q is close by at the launch site, getting this beacon scan, which will give us some nice information on where. Oh no, similar zone, dude.
Yeah, dude, this is really scary, actually.
Yeah, but I think it might pull a little bit more towards fragments. I think, you know, just based on how it's positioned.
I hope so. I hope so. No, I don't want it to be a disadvantage for the 4 or 5 squads that we have all the way towards the south. Haven't really found themselves coming in here. MSMK3 Still seeing them in a nice spot. You know, they're not that far away. And a little bit of action is popping off here as some gunfire is coming down range from the Sparrow lineup. They are looking to, at the very least, get some damage out onto the Radix 2 squad. And there's going to be a lot of missed shots here that end up happening through the window. That was not supposed to happen. So now you have to be very careful about the approach because you know they're coming in with practically full shields, full health, and probably full ammo.
They get a knock, the team of the Sparrows. It's a bit disjointed, you know. Everyone's just looking for each other, essentially, in these fights, and the team's just looking a little bit lopsided in this attack. Sparrows is pushing up now onto the Gibby player, and I mean, yeah, they're almost cracked. The nade was thrown at least to try to do something, but just like that, Rapid Dario goes down. Yeah, what can you do? PK shot right in the face, going down there. Is there still one player up on the team, or is that a full squad wipe? Not too sure. I think one might be
Still one
out.
up. Yeah, still one up.
Satan Don? Oh, Santon Don? Hey, wait.
Santon. What? Santon, doesn't that sound like, I don't know if you ever watched wrestling, but it sounds like one of Jeff Hardy's finishing moves, the Swanton Bomb. It's so great.
Yeah. Formula 1, we actually saw them, you know, come close to that end game.
Yeah.
That first one. We'll see what they can do here.
I think this time around they're going to have to play more of a rat-style game as Formula 1. Oh, I mean, that for Radix too. Formula 1, like you said, because they came so close to the end, they have some combat potential here. Gan coming in, so they've been scouted. Good shots flying through, and we do not see Uzair taking any damage so far. Shield will be popped, will be forced to go inside it. Getting these shots off, will he be able to find this wingman switch after the R3 is not enough to finish the job, and nothing's enough to finish the job. Will these shots actually happen? They've cracked the shield, they've downed the player. And Formula 1, they are in this, they are here to play, Thendo. They will not allow themselves to lose out.
Look at the Nibble meme team swooping on in over here after they see this prime. They're ready for the third body, but can't take so much damage. But Emma's is dishing it out as well. Then the All-Star follows through for the kill. And it seemed like things were looking good for the team, but now with this third party, everything's a little bit grim, and your loot is now mine, basically, Nibble meme team says, as they're just gonna try and loot up. Hey, whoa, that ulti's a bit massive with the nades! What are they gonna do in that spot? There's not much. What? They just get knocked out immediately after that one. What a play!
What? Amazing plays coming in right here from the Formula 1 squad. That was
it's SNMK3.
SMP. Yeah, sorry, my bad. The other way around.
They're coming on in, they're continuing the momentum, right? They thought they would win that game out, and now they're angry, and the team is just stuck up in the corner. They did have the chance to heal up at least, and this dome is deterring the push just for a little bit longer. And will they swoop on in over here? The Honor 9 shots not really connecting, and they're really deciding whether to take up yes, man.
Yeah, it's Quack has the Rampage sitting in this corner, and these peeks with the shots out, getting as much damage as possible, dissuading them from making this approach. Somehow, Formula 1 still alive inside, maintaining the defense, and they're trying their best to try and get in on this area, but doesn't look like it's going to be happening here, Thendo. The scan comes out, they have vision once more. This Rampage, the ammo will not last forever. We only have 48 bullets left, so it's starting to be dangerous, and they're trying their best to flee. And Formula 1, what? They're actually going to get out of here. Uzair with the redeploy. This is what you Valkyrie in your team.
What?
They're getting out to safety, not even getting caught. And that's
How
it.
do you
They're
let them
out.
get away there as SNMK3? You know, you had the perfect third party, I want to say, with that ulti. Oh no, they're running into Omnius. No, they're pulling away. They're like, nah. We ain't having any of that. We're going into the fragment side. Omnius just trying to pop these shots on in. And now things are a little bit more settled down. As I say that, I lied. There's a fight going down. It's Formula 1 who have now landed here in fragment, getting shot at, and they're just going to find a little bit of coverage, at least in the train station.
At least a little bit of coverage, just a little bit. Not too much, just a little. As for once the action does settle down for a second, whilst we are settled for a moment, I just want to update everybody that should remember, SLX having won the previous game, they are now in pole position, 23 points already earned for themselves. MSMK3 up on 19, Omnius Gaming came into this as somewhat favorites, but they're only in third position on 12 points, so they certainly need to perform well here. Formula 1 in this particular lobby though, Thendo, they look like they are making a strong case for getting themselves some points on the board. But as they go outside right now, these shots flying in. Pretz 91 gets the hick knockdown.
The ulti is nice. To close the
very
distance. Out of here from limits, this is gonna try to wrap around over here from Johnny's. Is it Rotti's, isn't it?
Rotti's, yeah.
Ooh, the shots are coming through. The 2x bruiser not quite connecting. Jonty is really weak. And now Pretz has to try push up through and capitalize off that damage as they just dish. And they're in the wrong angle. You're not peeking the right direction. And now they're all getting beamed. Their HP is weak, but they'll clean it up at least for now over here. Johnny's rotis. And they're all good.
That came close. Bosvark almost made a huge comeback there, but unfortunately, just too many players to deal with. And, you know, you mentioned it. When you are in the situation where you're playing with the lifeline, right? Lifeline sort of relies on you being in a disadvantageous situation. But if you can't actually close in onto your disadvantaged players, the hero doesn't, or the legend doesn't really do anything for you, regrettably. And unfortunately, we end up seeing that Bosvark eliminated and the faith in this lifeline not paying off right now. However, we also are not that far away from a zone enclosure. And look at how many people and how many teams are closing in on the fragment side here, Thendo.
The zone is somewhat pulling again towards that position, just with a little bit more fragments west inside this time. I wonder where the next zone will be. That's zone number 4. Omnius is looking for a cheeky little fight. Yeah, Astro zips on in with a massive 1-2. Can he find the third? He can't. He has to pull out the alternator, but Troy is there in the background to support the player. And now they're just going to try and capitalize and finish these kills. The dome is going to be popped as well, just to make sure that no one takes some extra damage. And I think that one player did get away in that situation. Yes, Jades is out of that one. Like, nah, I ain't having any of that. I'm just going to clean and get out.
It's like, do I desire this smoke? Probably not. But look at the jump up here. Omnius Gaming have to fight up in through this elevator. This is going to be quite dangerous. But, oh, they're taking them out on the side of Formula 1. They thought they had to drop on them, but instead the scan goes south. But at the end of the day, Omnius find themselves getting taken out. Although initially they took out Uzir, it's Quack came in very quickly and make sure that he cleans up house, taking out the side of Omnius Gaming. The favorites once again eliminated here, Thendo, and Formula 1 making more and more of a name for themselves. 6 kills being racked up by the squad right now.
Yeah, Formula 1's looking solid right now, you know. They're making some good comms with these rotations, especially in which fights to pick up. I send Esports on the edge over here on Fragment West. Just waiting to get in as the zone closes in. And here is the team of the hour, SLX. They've been quiet for most of the game, right? You know?
Chilling.
They have some kills though, at least. Maybe they found 1 or 2 teams over here. Yeah, there's the team that they just took out. I think each of them have a kill on the board, which is good for them. 11 squads up as the zone is starting to close in.
Let's see. It is indeed trending more towards this central western side. And some action is happening here with the Ascent Esports coming across the side of MSMK3. They do not favor themselves in this long-range battle. Unfortunately, we see Shocker was in the pole position there with the wingman, so not that great in terms of dealing out that long-range damage. And Formula 1 will be some of the beneficiaries of this. They're inside right now. Johnny's Rotis trying to get something going here. Jonty with the Sentinel. He knows that there's a creep shot. Can he get it? He does.
What a
that
shot.
is beautifully done by Jonty.
Yeah, nice little sentinel shot there to get that knock as they try to rotate in. They're still holding out your SLX. Is there a team that they're trying to gatekeep right now? I wonder. I don't see any team right now. They're just waiting it out for the zone to close in and just come on in slowly with it. Ooh, there's a bit of a skerfuffle here. The shots are being exchanged. Shocker takes a lot of damage. Shocker, you got to be careful. You don't want to get knocked. Put your team at a disadvantage. They'll be able to quickly heal, but that team on the low ground might just try to get some ground and progress forward. It is Apex Q. We're still up in this position.
Amen. Apex, they are just looking really good right now. Still have practically full everything. I am a bit worried about some of these squads running out of ammunition, but Apex are looking for the long-range movement. They are not playing with the Valk, so the easy redeploy not going to be there for them. But they're making very good progress with this rotation nonetheless, as they're letting the other squads fight it out. As we see here, Johnny's Rotis, they have a little bit of combat. A quick knock going in, and they do manage to take out the... get the quick kill there over into Reckless Abandon. MSMK2, bye! Unfortunately, they take out their sister squad of the MSMK3 squad. So Johnny's Rotis been doing quite well in this particular game, Thendo. Like a bit underrated. They've got themselves 6 kills, and they've been doing it a little bit quietly, not drawing too much attention to themselves. But when they show up, they make the kills that matters.
Yeah, they're being quiet. Ooh, Ascent find themselves taking out a solo. It looks like
And now they're in a tough spot. The dome has to be popped over here by Trizzle. Popping this bad as well on top of it. And they do have the Valkyrie. Do they have the redeploy as an option? Because that might be a good one. Oh no, I thought thought someone was swooping in on them. No, they're just going down and getting out of this one. They see someone over here trying to take the zip line. They're taking some shots at them. Not really connecting thus far. Will that player get away with their life? They will. Goes to the herd. Are just surviving.
Are you kidding me? All right, I just saw something incredible. Johnny's Rotties, we had a limit actually closing in onto Jade Steven there, and it was almost a kill that ended up happening onto DNMK Gaming, which would have immediately eliminated the squad, but a redeploy literally right in front of a reload. That was incredible. And we're still going to be having our Jade Steven Valkyrie alive, but looking where he is on the map, it's not a good place to be. Nice scan coming in from Johnny's Rotties, and well, there we go. Unfortunately, the redeploy was a bit too obvious for everybody. Nice attempt, but the kill still ends up happening.
Zone's also pulling back towards that train station. But this time, not next to the building. There's a lot more open ground. Ooh, okay.
Ooh, okay.
Junty.
And man, he's feeling the Sentinel, man.
Yeah, something kind of popping off right there, you know. Probably the one that's going to be holding them out, though, in the spot. And now that they've got an idea of where the zone will be pulling, it's going to be just everybody now trying to rush their way in to find a spot towards that next one. And if you look closely, it's going to be pulling out right in the open. There is some teams already over there. The fights are breaking loose over there by the Ghosted Herd, I believe, against... I can't really make out what team that is. It's DNMK3. That are here, still looking for the redemption from that last game.
Yeah. They want their redemption, but they're in a rough spot right now, forced to flee some fire. We see this Ghosted Herd squad, only the 2 players in it, but they're able to rout away the entire SMK3 squad, who don't really want to end up dying for nothing, rather maintain their weapons, maintain their hold. And I said Esports is now also, look where they're starting to close in on. They're moving in on an interesting position. Beautiful takedown there onto Donut Daniel, and they're still going for more. We see it's Trizzle downrange with his R3, doing as much damage as humanly possible, and this damage is just incredible. Nice takedown. Donut Daniel also ends up getting eliminated. We'll have a retreat just for everybody to battery up.
It's SLS once again. They've read the zone and they've realized that, hey guys, this is a similar one to that last one. Let's make our way towards the side. And now they're here just griefing these 2 teams that caught themselves in this fight. This Wraith is out in the open. Will they get beamed? No, just gets away in time.
Oof. Close call. But I love how SLS always does this, right? We've seen this twice now, where they'll actually wait for other squads to engage combat first, and then happily show up. As we see now, nice drop down coming in from Skids, but couldn't get the clean shots out. Unfortunately, ends up having to flee before he can get completely cracked. Shield battery back up, and we'll be okay. They're looking for this pincer position. Question is, how will they be able to find it? They don't have a Bloodhound on their squad, so they don't have the easy scan, but they also have the advantage of the zone closing in and forcing the play, making it very, very difficult.
Skids is really trying some crazy stuff here. He's putting some Tyler plays through, right? He's trying to find these angles and break away from the pack, get some space for them.
Dude, look at Johnny's Ratizar. Look where Limits is. Limits is in such a great position. Goes forward with the portal as well. Look at this aggression coming in, but the reload in place coming in right now. The zone's gonna close in around them. It's gonna be the Stuckum. They actually get the kill. Oh no, overly aggressive. Jontel ended up dying as well. It's all now down to Pretz. Can he do this solo? He cannot, because the zone takes him out. They went for the aggressive play, but Johnny's Rotties found themselves being too aggressive and they got punished super hard.
Calamitous over there with a knock onto one of his members. Ah, dude, the beams are just coming through over here from the duo squad over here of Ghosted Herd. They've been surviving for so long. The synergy between the 2, you can definitely see it. The person's just peeking over the top over there. Calamitous has to just hop on up over here. The massive shots are flying through, dealing some damage. And I mean, they're just gonna be holding it down now on the edge, just waiting it. Not really looking to aggress too much onto the team right now.
SLX holding their position. Rockets flying out everywhere. We've only got 5 squads left here, Thendo. It's starting to come down to the wire. Oh, Ascend Esports, they found a target, but weren't able to get the full damage out on the side. SLX will have such good cover here. Standing in within their shield, and they're going for this redeploy. Very aggressive one at that. Will they get caught out or punished for this? It doesn't seem like it. The shots are coming in, but the shots aren't on target just yet. Oh wait, there is going to be a crack coming in. Ascend Esports managed to get the gimmick down, and a lot of HP actually being lost during this redeploy. SLX almost ended up losing Lagza, but it's not going to be enough to actually kill him.
Dude, well, I mean, wow. Look, these wingman shots from Shocker. Connecting for a little bit of damage. Nice play from SLX because they knew they were on the wrong side of the zone. They need to reposition so that they have an easier way to rotate and fight on it. That Thermite is burning them like freaking a briar right now. And the master shots are coming through.
No, the misses
through from Horizon as he runs through his own Thermite. And now there's going to be an ulti sucking him in. And it's a repeat of what happened to the Nibble meme team when these Horizons are just going to be a problem. And send Esports in a wall of hurt. But actually, SNMK go down right there in that position. Oh no, it's gone south for them once again. Look at Shocker trying to survive. Horizon's now down. The Q has to be popped to get into the zone. It's just Ghosted Herd. It's a dynamic duo over here, just taking names off the name.
My goodness, they've gotten themselves 4 kills right now, name after name, but the positioning advantage, they've made it so difficult for everyone to play around them. And now, with the round 5 closure, things get even more lit here, Thendo. It's getting down to the wire. We've got 4 squads left. You have a lot of work to do if you want to get yourself into that pole position here for game 2. As we see Ascend Esports right now, Shocker almost got himself into a good place, but Formula 1 had the high ground advantage, able to gun him down with the wingman. That's going to be a headshot out. 3 squads remaining. Anybody's game to play for. SLX could still double up on the victory, but they could easily get taken out. It all comes down to the positioning right here in the middle of the park, near the epicenter. This last zone is going to be contentious.
I mean, the heroic story right now for me is the team of Ghosted Herd. They're just going at it, the 2 of them, right? And you can understand why. They've got so much mobility to work with. They've got the Horizon, they've got the Valkyrie, and now it's just going to be a little bit of a standoff before the zone closes.
Zone closure is coming. Formula 1, they have some vision there. Beautiful shots going out. They've already cracked the shield earlier on, so this is a dangerous place to be. Feels like right now, whoever gets this vision will be the one to end things up. Ghosted Herd, they know they've been scouted by Formula 1, but they want to try and get the shots off first. Formula 1 still just chilling, but you always have to watch out for XLX. This is their strategy. Let everybody else fight. We haven't seen them do anything in a minute. Calamitous running forward, trying to make action happen. We see that Nope was creating some distraction. Calamitous going in. Will Calamitous be able to find the shots needed? Not just yet. Gets the crack on the shield of the Bloodhound. Not going to be enough because it's a 2v3. And oh my goodness, how are they both still alive, Thendo?
I don't know, but it looks like there's an ulti perhaps falling down. Indeed there is, and the timing of this dome might just be detrimental. It is indeed, as it's gonna rain on top of them, and luckily it's a friendly Gibby ulti. But how is the team of Ghosted Herd still alive right now on the top of this thing? And they're just putting Formula 1 in a tough position, and you have to imagine that SLX is just watching from a distance right now, like, I know, we see you guys fighting. It's unnecessary because we're just gonna swoop on in. But they're still alive, Ghosted Herd, on top of this, and they're dealing so much damage on top of Formula 1. They even get a knock on top of this. Who are these guys? Calamitous and no, they're just doing so much right now onto the scene, but the zone is swooping on in. They're even taking on SLX at this point. What is going on in this final fight? It's Calamitous. What? He gets 1 knock. Can he get another 1? No, it's not enough.
Oh,
SLX.
my gosh.
Back to back.
Woo. Back to back with the dubs from SLX, but that was a strategic back-to-back because they no way they would have done that. No way they could have expected that the last showdown would come between them and the 2 legend squad of Ghosted Herd. Calamitous and Nope, they just said no, they would not die. They would refuse to allow themselves to get taken down. They somehow get to the top 2. And SLX, it's wild to me that this is the team that won, but they pulled the same strat, Thendo. Let everyone else fight. Cool, we'll show up, clean up house. Like you mentioned, they were literally rubbing their hands together. I was looking at Lagza's POV and you could just see him being like, yes, I've got everybody in my sights. It's the easiest thing ever. Oh my god, what a game coming in from SLX. But Ghosted Herd, you are definitely correct, sir. How on earth is it possible that the 2-person squad is the one that is to watch until the very final moments of the game?
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy, and it's verticality that wins them at the end of the day. They don't have, you know, the ability Formula 1 to get up onto that high ground that they had. They have the jetpack, they have the Horizon Q. They just no ways, man. They're just getting beamed down like fish in a barrel, and I mean the movement as well on both players there is just superb.
And yeah, SLX, just the smarter team, to say, you know. They're just a smarter team. We saw them make that redeploy as well, just reading exactly what's going to happen in this final game. And they just watched from a distance, you know.
Not just the idea and the mentality, right? But just the confidence it takes in that position where you're talking about that redeploy. Honestly, if they don't redeploy right there and right there, they probably lose, right? It was way too many teams covering them on all sides, but because they did it, how they did it, they get out and they somehow managed to avoid dying in the process. And that's it. It's a wrap. It ends up with them back to back. And of course, that means that no matter what happens here in this third upcoming game, they certainly are going to wind up being the team that takes away the biggest share of points. Well, unless they crash out last place, but it's unlikely based on what we saw here today. Them now happy with their points, so go into the third game with a massive amount of confidence. And right now, while we're waiting for this third game to get going, we have an opportunity to remind y'all about the giveaway that we are running right now, the EGL Apex giveaway. We've already run it. We were talking about it throughout the broadcast, and we do now have a winner. So, you person by the name of Rad Mango, wherever you are in the chat right now, please send a message to us or just say hi in chat. Say, it's me. Wave your hands up and one of our admin team will give you the contact to allow the delivery of your esports clutch mousepad to make sure that you get your flick shots, have the smoothest gaming experience possible on your mouse. Make sure that the next time you're playing Apex, you'll also be like, actually, you should join the next tournament. If you see EGL Apex, you also want to be involved, right? Thank you. Congratulations, Rad Mango, and everybody else. Better luck next time, because every single time that we are running a stream, we will be running a giveaway as well. So there's always going to be something for you. So don't miss out and get involved. And speaking of getting involved, Thendo, the teams that are involved, they're not just involved in Apex. They're involved in 70K worth of Apex. 20,000 Rand for the winning team. And if you're a team right now like SLX, you're starting to maybe believe that you can get yourself into that top 8 contention where the money is guaranteed.
Yeah, you know, top 8 all the way down to 8th place, you'll be getting a nice little payout. And it's all to play for, right? Yeah, especially with moments like that where you get a team that no one knows of. You know, I've never heard of Calamitous, and I will remember now, though. You know, in that moment, I know the name as well as Nope. I'm looking out for the team playing as a duo. And as the players are loading into this next and final game, the storyline right now of the night originally was Omnius Gaming, but where are Omnius right now? It's SLX. We're looking at SMMK3. They died towards the end of there, unfortunately. Formula 1 is also popping off here and there, right? I mean, you know, these names that you wouldn't expect to be dominating the lobby are out here, you know, showing them how to play the game, man.
And I love that they're all doing it with different styles of play, right? We're seeing XLX go for the somewhat early aggression, but then they just completely do nothing until as late in the game as humanly possible. MSMK3, they've been incredible just with having that high ground positioning consistently throughout, right? Hell, this particular game, we didn't see it from them, but we have to remember game 1, Apex Q also had a pretty strong showing, right? And they did it by being very strong with Unloaded, jumping in with the entry frags, and of course, we really cannot ignore, right? This Ghosted Herd squad, which this time around, Thendo, scarily enough, looks like they might have the full set of players.
They have the whole set.
They have the whole set.
Yes, it's the team. I told you, I was like the team with Ghost Psycho, dude. Like, I just saw something about them. I was like, nah, they're moving different. You know what I'm saying? And imagine that Ghost all the way at the end over there, who's also a really good player. You know, seen him in and out of the scene. Whew, I mean, this final game, I don't even know who to give it to. Like, yes, you want to give it to SLK, right? But I mean, SLX, but will they get another optimal zone like that one, right? Because essentially, those zone pools were just favoring them and just their playstyle, right?
Yeah, it was absolutely perfect for them and favored them really, really well. There was practically no time where the zone pulled in such a way that they had to completely change up their already planned rotations. So going into this third one, they obviously have that big target on their back. But, you know, we still have to remember that Omnius Gaming, you know, they might be now a bit down in the dumps, but this could be the kick in the pants that they need. We saw from yesterday into today, ATK doing a little bit of a change up mentally. That change up could happen even faster for Omnius Gaming. And this third lobby feels like it's actually somehow going to be more action-packed than what we've seen coming up so far. And I do think that not only do we have several teams, I mean, we expected this to be a little bit closer, but it feels like relative to the previous lobby, doesn't feel like there's any teams that are decidedly worse than everybody else, right? Obviously, MSMK2, potentially like a team like Bossfuck, not playing the best Apex that we've ever seen in our lives, right? However, on the other side, they're still not doing terribly. And you still have teams like Johnny's Rotties who did very badly in game 1. Game 2, suddenly John T is like, hey y'all, I got this Sentinel. Let's make some magic happen. And suddenly magic is happening for them. So a lot can happen. The drops can still make a difference. And that's what we want to see in competitive Apex. The Evesports EGL Apex tournament is happening right now, powered by Omen. HP Omen, excuse me, and brought to you by HP as well. In game 3, Thendo, we have the lost
already. All
We're
right.
already in, my G.
I'm like, okay, cool. This is it. Final game of the night over here, ladies and gentlemen. Grab your popcorn. Who are you rooting for? We want to see it in the chat room over here. And I mean, we saw that Mirage pick. We've seen the lifelines, and I'm just hoping that after 2 games, you've realized that it's really not going to work out for you, and you need these characters that offer you, you know, all the utility like Valkyrie, the Horizons, the Gibbies, the Wraiths, the Bloodhounds, because you just need the information, you need the, you know, the ability to rotate, you need the cover, man, you know what I'm saying, in these kind of situations. Will we see as many teams on the north side of the map as well, Snare? What do you think?
I'm not sure. I think after what happened in game 2, a lot of teams will be like, hey, we didn't really benefit from all of us being on that side, so I'm looking for a bit more spread out. And especially like for the far-reaching portions of the south side, we didn't see anybody occupying those areas of the map initially after the drops. But it also depends on the direction, excuse me, of the dropship, right? We do not know exactly where it's going to be going as of yet. And let's see here. Dark Legacy Gaming still going to be sticking with what they went for in game 2. A bit more of an off-kilter build here, but I am also seeing more and more as time goes on, people recognizing, you know, some combination of Wraith, Gibby, Bloodhound, Valk. Yeah, like you mentioned, these are the legends to go for because this is what wins games.
Yeah, it's what wins games, honestly. You need that. You need that information. You need that oversight. Sometimes you need all these abilities coming into these games. And here's that drop path coming through. It's favoring a lot more teams down that would be landing at the north side. So I mean the south side. So those north-facing teams are gonna be a little bit worried seeing a zone like this.
Absolutely, it's a bit far out for those going that side, and looks like we might still be having the dome and some other of the south side places completely ignored. So many teams going north here. My goodness. Okay, so people, although they might not be aware of where they're gonna be going, they will be badly inconvenienced by this. And some of these teams that are going directly towards Lava City, as we see it just being the squad here of MSMK3. Little do they know, Thendo, this is exactly where they need to be to have a good start to this game. But we will see. Still a lot of Apex to go for here. And it doesn't seem like there's going to be that much contestation. Anybody land super close to each other? Nope. Going to be an even freer game than last time.
Yeah, not as many teams on the north side of the map, right? Because usually there'll be one in the epicenter. Yep. OG likes this survey drop, you know, they get the split in the tunnel, gets a lot of loot in there. Look at Calm Down, look at Fisher, it's looking a little bit scary. And speaking of scary things that is going down over here, Dynasty seem to find themselves in a bit of a sticky situation.
Just saying hello.
Nibble meme team, ish dog. Yo, I'm just like recovering from that Horizon altitude, I swear. If I don't see that one on Twitter later, I'd be surprised because that one was like insane, you know. But ooh, look at the zone tree ending, and we've been seeing teams land at tree the whole time, right? And the one time it's a tree ending, the team switches it up and is like, nah, we're not gonna go this way.
Yeah, we're not about this life. But this time around, tree is going to be the center point of where we're going to be playing around here. Some teams already occupying the Harvester zone. We had a couple of pot shots flying out here on the other side by Dynasty Gaming, but nothing much doing, at least just yet. One thing I'm also very curious to see, right? Since they are going to be, you know, as the movement starts to go very, very south, right? Instead of more towards the central western location, as you see Dynasty Gaming throwing out a bit of fire here. But I think they don't realistically expect to be able to get a squad kill out of this. This is more about just being able to protect the location, gatekeep the zone, make sure that there's no approach happening. But Radix too, they actually want to take this fight as well. Tarzan, wingman shots going in both directions. Thus far, nobody really pinged out just yet by any of these bullets. So it's more just saying hello, reminding each other that this is still a competitive environment.
The 1,
seems to be in an engagement as well over here. And Fisher, someone's pushing the building hard over there onto Yazir, who's taking up a lot of damage. We need some assistance on the Bloodhound player over here of Quack. Quack, unable to connect for much damage, gets the scan out at release and is going to go and swoop down to try and kill this. Holding onto the door, the Thermite there. The Thermite won't be Oh no, he needed to be up here to help while this res was being popped off. I don't think the communication was really on from the team. It's all up to Quack to try and clutch things up. And it's Ghosted Herd over here, just continuing their reign of terror from the last game. Nope. And the squad is just out here, man. Cleaning up.
Formula One of those squads that actually made it very close to the end of the game last time around.
In the last game, remember?
Right? Yeah, they took them out of the top 3.
Yo, you gotta, if I'm Formula One, I'm literally punching the air right now.
I'm actually tilted. I'm going on to these Ghosted Herd Twitters right now and I'm talking trash, man. This is awful. I'm very upset if I'm them. But unfortunately for them, though they have to leave not being covered in glory, Ghosted Herd having the full complement out right now are showing their mettle, showing some of that movement that you're talking about. But also MSMK3 is showing the same thing. Mentality, taking out Park Daddy with some beautiful shots coming in from the R3, and we'll get the full knockdown as well. That is going to be beautifully done. Nice kill. And MSMK3 showing that their level has not dropped off an inch in the aftermath of that last game. Though they didn't get into the top 3, they are still a top squad here, Thendo.
And they're not playing Lifeline anymore. You see that? And mentality is now an Ash. They've seen that, yeah, man, we need this mobility a little bit more than, you know, playing for an awkward situation. Oh, you know, Big Juicy. Is that what? Big Juicy ASD?
Yeah.
Okay.
ASD.
You know, some usernames you'll be like, what?
Listen, I'm pretty sure we know what they were trying to actually type out, but thankfully the Apex language filter was able to stop that from happening.
Yep.
As the Nibble meme team, they're out here trading shots with MSMK3. They did get a lot of damage out onto Evo, but Evo will pop the battery back in a decent position. The Nibble meme team, though, might be playing a bit too aggressively here. They need to watch themselves here, lest they get caught out. They get peeked by Evo. Still, though, no shots happening as of yet, throwing shots downrange. X-Kit pings out with the location of the enemy. Will they be able to close the gap is the question, though. MSK3, they're fleeing at the moment. Donut Daniel trying to heal up. They have the redeploy available if needed, but it's a dangerous place to try and do this when you know that the enemy will take you out. Need the Phoenix kit first, then they're probably going to redeploy afterwards. The Nibble meme team, if they can't get this kill now, it'll be awful, but at the same time, there's more than just the Nibble meme team to worry about. It's Aura Gaming. They get the knock out onto Donut Daniel. Major danger emerging right now for MSMK3 as they've now lost their Valkyrie, Thendo. Much harder to play the game without her.
Yeah, very hard right now, but at least that Ash still has a little bit more mobility. But she just used the ulti as well, so they kind of stuck in the spot right now. Aurora Gaming are looking to be a nuisance over here onto the Nibble meme team as well, but Pestbot goes down, and yeah, it's just all up now to Narzar or hey, yeah, let's just Cat beaming with the R99 and taking these shots down onto the last member of Aurora Gaming. And Nibble meme team is doing a little bit better this time around, you know. They're still up, they're still trying to pop some shots through. There's a lot of fights breaking loose over here, right? But thankfully for these teams, the zone is close for their rotation, right?
Yeah.
Wait, are they going for this banner?
I think so. Are they really going to do this?
I think I'm hearing the redeploy from Nibble meme team. Yeah, they're gone.
They're actually doing this, yeah? Actually going to do it, okay.
None of that for them.
I mean, given how impactful Donut Daniel on the Valkyrie has been for them, I can completely understand why they would take this track. So whilst they're busy with that, we see Ascent Esports on the other side. You know, Shocker running forth, has to deal with some fire here. It's heavy fire coming in towards him. Needs to be very careful about this peak. Watching himself, or Puppet's portal rather. So some vision is possible to be gained from this, but no
Look
thing
at
to
OG
protect the
is
squad.
on. Why are OG so deep in the zone right now, I wonder? Making their way out. Okay, it seems like they were stuck in a fight, it looks like, at Skyhook, so... No, it's zone 1, it's zone 1, don't worry, dog, it's fine. These guys know what they're doing, they'll get in soon. Ah, well, even, you know, the Bloodhound got Pestbot's banner, but getting beamed over here. Get a cheeky res on here, it's SNMK3 after getting Donut back up and running, looking to confirm these kills.
Donut's out here, doing his thing. Going to be able to participate meaningfully in the game once more. As MSMK3 certainly a team to watch, but another team to watch. We need to have a lot of care about what's happening with the Ghost Herd squad. We do see MSMK3 finally get themselves back into the zone here. Still dangerous going though. And a lot of Apex still to go. It is only zone 2 at the moment. So not that scary in terms of positioning on the map, but I want to quickly take a look at here where Ghosted Herd is. Look at where Calamitous is sitting. Just in this perfect position with this Peacekeeper, ready and waiting to cover a bajillion angles, allowing a lot more freedom for Nope to just skirt around downhill, not having to worry about getting picked off randomly out of nowhere.
Dude, why is this playable as well, to be honest with you? This little edge of the rug. It's like, you'd never even think of clearing that angle. Why are so many teams also just stuck in transit coming out from where the dome side is? Yes, we saw a lot of fights there, but I thought many of them were starting to make the rotation as we check Ascent, popping off some shots here. Johnny's Rotis, also in the vicinity at Lava Siphon. Charge rifle in the hand here of Pretz. That can be a real nuisance to some gamers in the lobby if they find a nice little third party to engage in. And I mean, this lobby has been mostly redeploys. Let's be honest. Like the last lobby, people weren't really redeploying that much, but people just been redeploying. Whenever they have the opportunity to get out there, like I am gone.
A team that needs to get out though is the Nibble meme team, as they're getting currently chased down by MSMK3. Mentality running forward with that R3. Had the angle at the very, so should be not that difficult for them to understand where the Nibble meme team went, but getting the approach is another question entirely. XKit covering the door right now and ensuring that they have the full batteries out for Aquatic, but MSMK3 will take a little bit of a long attack. They'll be like, well, we know where y'all are at, but we don't have that much appetite for this fight just yet. But some shots will ring out downrange as the Nibble meme team might force this fight to happen regardless.
It's a good spot for now, at least, you know. Someone's going to be pulling towards lawn side as well as the tree.
Level 2.
I wonder if it's going to pull out in the open where tree is or pull on this lawn side area, because that's always a lot of trouble for teams that don't find themselves in lawn side. You know, if you see that zone historically, if you're not in lawn side and it pulls towards lawn side, you're just dead. Oh, wow. Okay, well, you know what? I didn't know you had the damn freaking heirloom for Watson. No wonder you got to play here, right? You know what I'm saying?
No. You got to do what you got to do, man. When you got the swag, you got to pull the swag out. That's what ends up winning games. Speaking of winning games, Nibble meme team yet again come across some shots downrange from the MSMK3 squad, but they're not the only squad in the vicinity. We do still have a couple of more action coming in from Radix too. So 3 squads contesting this area here around the launch site. Interestingly enough, we haven't seen much of Omnius Gaming. They've literally been spending most of their time just moving around, rotating, man. Just doing their thing, man. Just chilling, you know? They're like, you know what? We flopped game 1 and game 2 because we were so action oriented. So let's take the SLX route. They did nothing until like the last 4 squads. So let's try the same. It's gonna work out for us too.
Yeah, pretty much. What's happening with Omnius here? They've slowed the game down a little bit. Squads are still trying to make their way in. We've got so many teams coming in from the north side where Harvester is, and as well as where Lava Siphon is. And look, it goes to the herd, who have read the zone well and holding things down over here in this position, right? They've got a lot of confidence coming off that last game, playing only as a duo. Now to have the full 3-stack up, they should be feeling good about themselves. Pretz is taking up a lot of damage. We'll have to pop the Phoenix kit as the team of Johnny's Rotis is holding this edge of the mountain.
Yeah, doing their best to hold that area. You know, got the charge rifle at the ready. And I mean, game 1, we already saw Calamitous and Ghost Psycho did a fairly decent job. Obviously not as good as what we saw with Nope and Calamitous, but now that they've got all 3, certainly they are feeding themselves, like you mentioned. And they must feel good knowing that they have some positioning advantage here. But Bosfark, take a look at to them. They are in a much more precarious situation than Ghost Herd. They're outside the ring right now. But not only that, but Bosfark, Dwarf is outside and in a bad place. They know exactly where he's at. He's trying to stay alive here. Will he be able to do so? Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they're taken out by Omnius Gaming, who themselves are slightly outside of the ring, but they know exactly what they're doing. They should be able to get back in good stead. Unfortunately, though, they also know that around the corner from this mountain, they are being covered by the Ghosted Herd. Dark Legacy, you know, the one Mirage player that we have in the lobby here. What have you made of this Mirage here for Retrograde? Like, I think it's been okay, right? Doesn't feel like it's been terrible, really. At least not in this game.
This whole team composition is just haphazard, to be honest with you. Like Octane, Watson, Mirage, like I don't know what kind of cosplay they're trying to cosplay right now, but hasn't been working out for them. Still alive at least, and a tough spot though. They're getting pinned down, and it's SNMK2, who we haven't seen much of as well. They're the team that keeps picking the low back on top of that. So two teams with interesting compositions, just holding each other at the edge of the zone, yeah. 13 up. And they still have a lot to play for. Omnius was in this area as well, right? We gotta remember that. Hello? Is that a decoy or not? Sometimes I don't know. That's why sometimes I hate casting when there's Marauders in the game, because you'd be like, wait, is that a real? No, it's not.
But MSMK2 though, they have the awareness that was probably being faked out, so they didn't end up wasting bullets in the wrong direction. And they're starting to get this complete cover here. If you can get over this rock for Van Dangle, this could be a great position to come down in. No easy peek. There's going to be the vision. Nice scan coming in. It's going to provide some vision. But the decoy making work happen. This is why you picked the Mirage. Is it going to work out though? They end up getting the shield break onto said Mirage. No kill just yet. They also broke the Watson. A little bit more work still that needs to be done. And Dark Legacy Gaming also getting involved in the action here, Thendo.
Yeah, Dark Legacy Gaming beaming these shots. Oh, the shots are clean there, but no one's there to follow through. The ulti from Watson is covering them quite well over here. They just chaos and rampage everywhere, and somehow SMMK2, who had so much advantage, is losing it, but they managed to trade one off onto the Mirage player there, and it's a big fight. But oh, the beams that come over here from Indulger take the player down, and now they should be working with that man up. But the zone's pulling one in. The Watson goes down. Both these teams are essentially griefing each other, right? With this fight. And the zone's just too much. Don't even stick the res, dog.
Oh no, this is so disconcerting. Oh no, what a way to get eliminated. Apex AQ. Ah, the zone grief. It happens sometimes, man. There's nothing you can do about the situation. Get taken out. MSMK3 also in major danger. Caught outside the zone as well. And Jeeves from Omnius Gaming is griefing them further. He needs to get back inside the zone as well to be safe and be careful. But now there's only 10 squads left. But we're getting fairly close into this action-packed area. And look at the edge of this tree here. How many squads are in this area? Ghost Psycho trying to get these shots out. Would he be able to at least get the full break here? No, not yet. Forced to try and flee away. Omnius Gaming fighting against Ghosted Herd here. Ghosted Herd are losing out though. They've already lost Calamitous. Nope, won't be able to get this res just yet. As Pret's also getting involved in this fight. So many squads just shooting in this area. Everybody's going to try and run away right now, especially Ghosted Her, to realize 2v3v3 not going to work for us.
We just take a moment to look at this zone and just like pray for all these teams, to be honest with you, because that zone is so unforgiving. Like, what do you do if you don't have a Gibby? Is what I'm going to say right now, looking at how the zone is about to end off. And all the teams that thought it would pull launch side feel silly right now. But hey, Nibble meme team, they're still alive, at least, you know. They might be able to hold out on this edge, right? But the problem is the zone pulls onto the other side, right? Where they're not. Then at least they have the Valkyrie to redeploy. I hope they can make the verticality to shoot up here. Ooh, some fights are breaking loose here. Omnius, Jeeves with the Mastiff, doesn't find the knock. Swaps onto the R301 and swaps onto a different target on top of that. Just trying to deal as much damage as he can. As Omnius just working their way in to the edge of the zone.
Yeah, the rest of the team are now closing in as well. They're really intent on being able to find this team kill. Will they be able to get anything out of this? Jumping up onto the top to get some vision. Oh, jump down with the Mastiff. Not going to be able to get the knock either. Moving back into the shield at the very last second. Still some of these shots are missing. It's still not going his way here, Thendo. Looking for the kill. Will Jeeves be able to find it? He's also losing health right now. Jeeves, this 1v1. It's going to be Jeeves at the last second getting the assist. It's going to be good enough. The team came
through. Look at his HPs, man. He's literally...
Wow.
He's literally living on a needle right there.
Wow.
Hello, Sparrow. Matty's why? What you doing out here? Imagine just coming in, looting boxes that aren't yours. Just vibing. So you gotta be careful. Omnius is right there. Here's a Sen making this dive on into the building. Hello, guys. Like, thankfully, no one is there.
Oh, Jeeves is getting taken out. Just got taken out. They got surrounded here.
Oh, Ghost Michael has a Kraber.
Ghosted Herd is out here. The Kraber shots are good. They're looking for the rest here onto Jeeves. They do manage to get it. The shield from Gibby, giving enough protection for that rest to happen successfully. However,
Psycho's going to be a problem.
it's a dangerous place to be, man. Psycho is out here. He's in. And Jeeves doesn't have enough time to either go for the battery or the heal here. So they have to try and find a more safe area. But I don't think they're going to get that full time from Ghosted Herd, who are looking for more kills as Calamitous able to help bring down Johnny's Rotties. And Calamitous is now the new kill leader. 4 kills in, 5 squads left, and with SLX out, it's anybody's game, Thendo.
That's a Mandem that was also knocked and had to get rezzed back into the game, back onto a red armor. Everything is going the right way for Ghosted Herd, as if it's scripted in this moment. And look at where these guys have to push on in. And there's a team over here, big scan that comes through, hasn't taken up too much damage, and the beam comes through over here from Jeeves. It's enough damage for the team to maybe push up on, especially with that Arc Star, as they try to hold. It's Dome v Dome right now, as they're just going to hold and stabilize. The Thermite there is going to deter the push. Omnius is looking to get very aggro. They need to win this fight in order to move on in. And the shots are flying through, but you can't really see what's going down, and Omnius is the one that is going down indeed, as the team is pushing up on them, and that is going to be the Nibble meme team rising up and above with the Thermite, and it's Ghosted Herd pulling back on in over here to clean things up. Oh my goodness, that's Nibble meme team out and OG all in one fell swoop. Ghosted Herd are looking so strong.
Ghosted Herd, who after the first 2 games found themselves in 3rd place with 19 points. MSMK3 had 27, SLS had 41, but Ghosted Herd now making a strong name for themselves, a case for being able to take an entire map. What's crazy to me, Thendo, is after game 1 and 2, they were 3rd place with only 2 members of the squad. Now they have all 3, and here with the flatline, nope. They've already found the good angle here, shooting into the crate, but unfortunately they found themselves actually being caught and pincered in between 2 squads, so they recognize that they actually have to retreat. Although they had the drop on him, it's better to just get back here. Sparrow with 1 player remaining for Maddie's Y. He's trying to close in, but it's not going to be enough. He gets taken out. Sparrow is gone. It's all for Ghosted Herd right now, as Nope has already cracked the shield at the very end there for Horizon on Ascent Esports. Ascent Esports now in a rough place, and there's going to be some Kraber shots coming in right now from Ghost Psycho. How do they come from this? How do they make this happen, Thendo? Because Ghosted Herd just looks so strong.
Oh, the ulti's also popped over there, and the beams are coming through from Nope, and they're just gonna push on in over that armor crack that they got. And now Nope popping some shots, but the Gibby Dome is being a little bit of a grief. The damage is coming through. The Gibby is still trying to heal. I can't believe it. The Gibby can't even though, as the entire team is just closing up on every single angle. Ghosted Herd put on a show in that second game, almost winning, and now they do win.
Damn, Ghosted Herd put on a show every single game, and you said it yourself, Thendo. There's something about how they moved. You know, Ghost Psycho played game 1 and 3. Calamitous played game 2 and 3. Nope was here throughout, but when you put the all team together, the 3 of them just made magic happen. And not that they made it look easy, but they certainly look like the strongest team in this particular lobby. SLX got eliminated, Omnius Gaming got eliminated, MSMK3 got eliminated, and all of them got taken out here, Thendo, by Ghosted Herd. What a way to end the night.
Yeah, what a way to end the night, honestly. I think that's a team we all have to be watching out for now, you know. I'd love to see how they go up against the likes of, you know, Nibble and DNMK, you know, in those matchups later down the line, because hello, those guys got that synergy. You know, they've got the comms, you know, really cool and collected. They've also got a really good composition that's working with them. And Horizon is what I'm pointing out there. It's been clutching things up for them. That ulti, you know, in maybe pubs and ranked games, you don't always see the advantage of that ulti, right? But once it's really well positioned and it's sucking those players in regardless, they still have to either opt to destroy that, right? Or, you know, shoot you as you're trying to come in and either throw nades at them and take shots. So it can be really hard to counter sometimes, especially if you don't have a Gibby that has, you know, the correct timing to help the squad out in that kind of situation.
Absolutely, without the Gibby to help out. You know, initially I was quite concerned actually about that team, thinking it's an Ashe, a Valkyrie, and a Horizon. How do you make this all work? Is it not too much commitment on the mobility front of things? But in the end of the day, it turns out to be exactly what they needed. And then now Ghosted Herd with that win. Now I'm not sure how close up they are but they certainly maintain their position within the poll ranks. Of course, SLX were able to win 2 complete maps, so they probably will find themselves higher up on the top, but nonetheless, Ghosted Herd impressed us, SLX impressed us, MSMK3 impressed us, Formula 1 impressed us, and the team that we expected to be the most impressed by somewhat let us down, Thendo, but that just means we have more teams to watch, more teams to pay attention to, and more exciting Apex Legends to come. This has been an incredible evening of Apex, and there's just more and more to come. So make sure that you are following us here on Twitch. Hop on over at Evesports SA on Twitter to make sure that you are up to date on when all the games are going to be live. And Thendo, before we close this out, where can the lovely people in this world find you if they want to hear more of what you got to say about these games?
Well, you can check me out, on my Twitch and or on Twitter. I'm always tweeting some lovely content on Apex, and there's some Horizon content on there as well. Just saying.
yeah, just say it. Just go check him out. So at ThendoPlays is where you need to find him. You can check me out at Snare. But the most important thing is that you do follow this channel here, and that you give thanks and some shout outs. This has been the EGL 1 Apex tournament. Evesports is behind all this hype, or behind all this action. HP has been powering us. HP Omen has been helping with that powering. And of course, we've been here running the event. Myself, Snare, ThendoPlays. We've got a lot of other people in the background, but we'll make sure we put out the shout outs a bit later on down the line. We'll ask the production team to come with a full list of credits so you can give the proper thanks. With that though, another day of Apex down on the line and in the books. We'll be continuing next week at Wednesday, again at 7 o'clock. Wait, 7 o'clock, 7:20, somewhere around there. Again, follow Twitter and you'll be sure of exactly when we kick off. But this has been myself, Snare, ThendoPlays on the mic, bringing you the hype, bringing you the action, and we'll see you in future for some more incredible Apex Legends action.